I'm a goddess with a blaze. 소리처럼 내 이름 잊지 못하게 loud loud loud. I could take you to the top. 절대 멈추지 못해. 내가 끝내주는 bad girl girl girl. When I start to talk that oh you know how to react. I'm a picture perfect face with the wild in my veins. You can hear it in my growl 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 growl. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. 다 할 수 없는 래퍼. 나와 되길 원한 늘 확신해. We got it all in our hands now. So can you handle what we're all about? What's so tough? Let's get it, show you out. Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the crown. You could go another round, 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 round. Wish you luck, but you're not bringing us down. Go hard, till we get it, we go hard. We so in it, we pop stars. Only winning, winning now. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. You ready for this? Let's go. See, 언제든지 내 모습 매직 단 한 번에 내가 잡아 절대 기죽지 않지. 펴펴 네가 뭘 알아? 견딜 수 없어 원해도 원하는 게 얼굴에 보여. I'm troubling you, running it, I'm so cold. When I move that way, you gon' be so blown. I'm the realest in the game. Said I'm on fire with the blade. You're about to hear my name, ringing in your head like whoa. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. We so tough, let's get it, show you out. Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the crown. You could go another round, 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 round. Wish you luck, but you're not bringing us down. Go hard, till we get it, we go hard. We so in it, we pop stars. Only winning, winning now. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. 난 멈추지 않아. We go hard. We pop stars. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the crown. You could go another round, 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 round. Wish you luck, but you're not bringing us down. Go hard, till we get it, we go hard. We so in it, we pop stars. Only winning, winning now. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, beautiful people across the world, welcome to the 2019 Collegiate Championship Playoffs. My name is Rob Ghosty Dream Price, and joining me today is going to be none other than Dutch. And Dutch Source, I am very excited to be looking into these games today. As you're saying, DCU Titans versus Maynooth Crusaders, a battle for the ages to see who will go up against UCD Swans in our semi-finals.
Yeah, and I believe we have our only quarters of the whole tournament here. Already going straight into draft. Getting into a few bans. Some junglers already banned away, top laners on the other side, so already see some focus from both of the teams.
Yeah, I mean, every time I see Razor in a game, I'm like, cool, so we're not seeing Evelyn this game. Anyway, Bandaway has always been very proficient on that champion, and a lot being chucked his way as well, with the Rek'Sai and Lee's taken off the board. So making sure that Razor isn't going to get onto any of these real comfort picks and try and have an impact on the map. I like this Jarvan pick up nice and early as well. Kalihamna as well, getting onto something that can either be a bit aggressive, but can also be flexed between that top lane position as well.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a nice pickup for top as well. Already 3 top laners banned out immediately, so it's a good pickup, especially this early. Mork being a bit favored by both teams. Masterspark and Witzel both play a hell of a lot of Morg, so picked up early. Lissandra, same deal. Both mid laners love that champion, being picked up early as well. As we throw it back.
Yeah, and something that I might be looking forward to seeing actually coming into that, Lysandra, is that Corki pick. I know that Cyber Ninjas has played a little bit of that, works quite well in that situation. You can bully the lane very effectively. And then, of course, you also hit that super strong sec 2-item spike with the Triforce and that Infinity Edge if they want to go for that style. Looks like instead we might be looking towards the AD carry position right now with Caitlyn locked in. Probably we'll see a support paired with it here if they want to leave those mid laners to that second pick, or maybe just to make sure that Lysandra is going into that mid lane. You'd assume so, but we have seen a bit of flexibility with that Lysandra pick in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, especially in the LCS, the pros really like to put a bit more flex on that Lysandra than we probably are going to be able to see here. But yeah, like I said, Orianna was actually my guess here. They already have a lot of team fight on the side of DCU with the Jarvan and the Orianna. The combo is going to be there. The setup is going to be there. And it's a pretty safe lane against this Orianna as well.
The only thing that I'm kind of seeing here from the side of DCU is that they're waiting on, or they're banking a lot anyway, on this late game. I mean, Caitlyn needs to get a couple of items underneath her belt before she can really get rolling. The Orianna as well, you want to get to that 3 to 4 items before those shockwaves really start packing a punch. So if you're on the opposite end of things, if you're going to be on the side of Maynooth, you can start looking, okay, cool, do we want to draft something that punches a little bit heavier in that mid game? Maybe we can eke out a victory there and then start to roll into an advantage in the later stages.
Yeah, and Tristana is a very decent pickup for that. Probably gets the push depending on the support that Witzel is going to be picking. With that Morgana, you're going to push that bot lane in with the little AoE from the rockets and the Morgana pool. It's going to push in that bot lane, gives a bit of freedom for Wazenor. Well, more ADCs and top laners are going to be banned, of course, in that second rotation. It's going to be fun to see what picks are going to be left over. Like, what do you pick at this point?
Yeah, it's going to be very tough. I mean, you can still go back towards the likes of, Gragas and stuff like that are always kind of those fringe picks that just stay in meta regardless. Will be interesting to see, though, if that is what they want to go for. I mean, you still have the likes of Kha'Zix and stuff is in there if they want to go towards that. I really want to see them pick up a strong frontliner here, which is why I'm assuming seeing the Malphite band away here. But I think you really want to put a big emphasis on Manu to have Niall on something that they can have as an engage tool. And in particular, I like that they're trying to get away from this split push role as well, making sure that you've gotten the Fiora off the board, the Camille off the board, Jax, right? There's a lot there that's now gone in that top lane just to try and help Niall out a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. There is still an Akali on the board, which is getting a little bit of favor back from these players. That Jarvan's still very much an option, so it's a bit dangerous to ban all these top lane champions, but they decide to go for it in the end. I would really like to see this Jarvan just being put on top and get a bit of a counter matchup for the jungler. But we see another flex in this Hecarim as well, which is also going to be able to play in both that top lane and that jungle position.
Yeah, I really like it in the top lane, especially if you're able to take that Conqueror. You're a very effective lane bully in these early stages because you have so many ways of just proccing that rune. You've got, of course, the W there. You've got your Q, the helicopter that can spin to win the entire way through that lane and dish out a whole bunch of damage. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that Hecarim going into the top lane, and I think I like where this is going. So you got a lot of damage in that top lane. You can go up against Rengus and you're not going to be bullied out too effectively. And now you've got this big engage tool that can come through. But the big factor for me as well, it's a very split fight coming in from the side of Maynooth. Lissandra's going to be in the middle of things. She's going to have that self-ult to keep herself safe. Hecarim is going to be a dive buddy alongside her. Whereas now you've got Tristana who's playing very far back. You've got Morgana who's going to be able to play far back and use that black shield to keep people safe. So this kind of big wombo combo that we started to see come out from DCU Titans mightn't be quite as effective because of how spread out that fight is becoming. And there you go, Dutch, you called it already, that Akali going to be locked in. And I think that's in response there. If you're going to be playing these very separated out fights, if you can get Akali into the middle there and just now become a disruption for the backline, suddenly this super dive heavy style that we're seeing come in at the moment won't have that same effect.
Yeah, definitely. This Akali is going to help with that split fight. Should be getting a little bit of an easier way into the backline with the fight being so split as it is. We see a God, I'm totally blanking out. Silas, there you go, on the top lane as the last pick, which means that the Hecarim is going in that jungle. Probably a bit more of a farming role. hopefully see some early aggressiveness, especially because this Jarvan is going to be able to put it out himself. But yeah, for the Silas, there's going to be a lot of interesting ults for him to steal.
Yeah, most certainly is going to be, and I think that is going to be a very big factor when we do come into these. In particular, my eyes are on Cyber Ninja's Shockwave. If Niall can steal that away, toss it onto the or toss the ball just into the middle of those fights, you're going to deal a heap of damage there. The big interesting thing for me though is as I'm looking at this clock tick down, the summoner spell choice from Rengus right now is Ignite and Teleport. So they're looking to go heavily aggressive in this lane and try and use the maneuverability of Akali to keep themselves safe. But if I'm Razor and I spot that, I'm very quickly going to be making my way up towards this top side of the map. I want to make sure that I'm punishing Rengus for this very greedy rune choice.
Yeah, but we are talking about this Akali here, and for anyone who's ever on Reddit, they've seen it. That Cloud is a... People are really frustrated to play against, and it's gonna help out in a bit of that gank pressure. But it should still be able to just go top, spam everything. The cooldown is there. If you're just gonna repeat gank it, you should be able to get something out of it. But there is a bit of safety in there, and I've seen it before. It can work out if you know what you're doing. And this Jarvan is probably going to look at this Sengir. He wants him ahead. He's been the pillar, the damage dealer of the whole champion pool. Of the whole team. And just they're probably gonna be looking at getting that Akali ahead as much as they can.
Yeah, I think a lot of pressure is going to be coming in on both these junglers to start off with. In particular, as you were saying, trying to get a Kali head in that top lane for the side of DCU Titans, but on the opposite side for Maynooth, you've got a lot of options here to try and work around where Razor wants to go. I mean, obviously it's fantastic to try and shut down this Akali and try and get Silas rolling, but my eyes are also on this bottom lane, particularly when I see that you've got that range discrepancy between the Braum and that Morgana. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ray trying to get down there and get in either try and pick off Annihilation, which would be a difficult one, but I most certainly think if you can lock up this Braum, you've got enough chase potential between the Hecarim, the Tristana having that jump, and just the infinite lockdown that comes when a Morgana is in the game.
Yeah, definitely, and there's safety there. There's loads of safety there. The Braum stun, you can see it coming from a mile away. The Black Shield is just going to be there to stop it all. You're going to really have to bank on that bot lane, trying to farm up safely, and that's not an ideal scenario for Caitlyn. It can work. It really can work if you can get to the late game, but that mid game is going to be as useless as you can make it. And that will be the stride in Maynooth, trying to get those catches out with a lot of team fighting they have on their side. The picks with the Lissandra, with the Hecarim. The Morgana is going to help with it as well. So I'm really going to be looking for that mid game where Maynooth should be able to maybe get as close as closing out the game as possible. And as longer this game does go on, I'm going to favor the side of DCU.
100%, and I think that's why I'm most curious to see how some of these builds start to play out on the side of DCU Titans. In particular, I want to look at the Jarvan's build, because you can go for that Warrior Enchant if you want. Obviously, you'll be a little bit squishier, but you can dish out a heap of damage, and I nearly feel like just to kind of babysit them through that mid-game point, going for that Warrior Enchant wouldn't be the worst option. Get a little bit more damage, have a little bit more burst potential if you can try and catch out some of these members on the opposite side, and then maybe you can swing these fights back in your favor. I feel if you go for something like a Cinderhulk here, though, even though you're the sole tank of the team, you're actually going to end up losing out those mid-game fights so hard that you're not going to have that opportunity to get to the later stages where the Orianna's coming online, where Caitlyn's hit the 100% crit and just bamboozles everyone by critting them 99% of the time. It's just ridiculous. So I want to see if they can go for a slightly different variation here. And again, I think a lot of this is going to rely on Sengir in that top lane as well. Can you get those teleport plays off? Because if this becomes a case of it's just Null and Sengir going up against each other, just knocking each back and forth, there's not really going to be any kind of win there. What they really need to do is get a Kali out of this lane, try and influence this bottom lane, see if they can shut down some of the aggression that will come through from Canis and Masters back in that bottom lane, and then maybe bring something back in their favor.
Yeah, definitely. For me, that as well as that points towards that mid. Who's gonna get that priority? Who's gonna give the jungler the freedom to do whatever he wants? As soon as the mid lane gets that constant priority, either of the two can invade the other, and maybe spot them out, get some camps, get better gank setups, and that's all gonna be done on that mid lane, who both have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking as well. I mean, you've got the cleanse there for Cyber Ninja, so that's going to help out a lot here as well. I think that's going to be a massive thing, especially when I'm looking at the potential ganks that are coming in from, as you're saying, Razor. You've got good setup there with Dara, but having that little bit of a safety net with the cleanse is really going to help out Cyber Ninjas in this respect. But now I want to see as well, how does Kalimana try and move her around this game?
Yeah, there's that text that's gonna be there with that cleanse. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that is gonna work out. Well, we are finally in this game. Just a quick reminder: last time these two teams did face off, it was a 2-0 for the side of UCD. So I'm really interested to see if Minute is gonna be able to turn this completely around.
It is going to be a tall order, though, which is kind of the big thing here. I mean, trying to turn around a 2-0 victory is always going to be tough, but now's your opportunity of revenge. I mean, now is where you really want to see, okay, look, it was a mistake. It was a flash in the pan. It doesn't matter. This is where it really comes down to it. It's the quarterfinals. This is where you make your mark known. Well, we are going to be going into the game very, very shortly, and I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how this is going to play out. I mean, I'd be surprised if we get much aggression now in the early stages of the game to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely the possibility. You know, that Lissandra set up with that easy, you know, just going in face first Hecarim. You know, there's definitely possibilities there, which is probably the easiest lane to go on after. Is gonna be that mid lane. But yeah, I'm gonna be interested to see. Ooh, actually, Cybernean just walks up very, very far. Immediately has to burst both summoners, and that's gonna be a very nice advantage to have already.
Yeah, that's going to be a fantastic one there. And now it's going to be a big difference in that mid lane. You've got the cleanse now gone, the flash now gone, and already we were talking about, look, Ray can have a big impact here. Get Dara rolling in this early game because it's so easy for the likes of Alessandra to set this up. Now that you've got all those summoner spells gone, it's just like, okay, cool, let's 100% go back here. We can start to get Dara rolling, has that teleport available. Now we can start to play with that Lissandra.
Yeah, it's gonna be so much easier to get an early game rolling right now, and I just have to question. I play Orianna myself a little bit. You have that ball, you have that opportunity for vision. Why walk towards it when you know no one is gonna be there? Yeah, it's just unfortunate. Does get out with his life. Has the corrupting potions as well to get him through a bit of the laning phase, but it's a very unfortunate start, and you know you hate to see it, to be honest.
And we can also see that the vision for the start of this game as well is working out quite well for the side of Manute. They've got control pretty much of the entire river, so they now know, okay, cool, look, Top Skull is gone, but we know we're safe. The Jarvan's gone back into her jungle, Hecarim can continue to farm, and can try and look to pick up that second scuttle on the bottom side of the map as well, because you can see at the moment how low Razor is being taken on these camps. This is going to continue obviously up until that first back, so not wanting to find that Jarvan nice and early means that they are going to be able to play this one out, and Ray can then get to those levels that we really want to see.
Yeah, even at level 3, he doesn't have the Predator. He does have that Conqueror, so he's gonna be a bit later with the super speedy ganks. But the possibility is there. The Summoners are down. The Vision is there, like you said before, and he is looking for this Lissandra. Is gonna find the Hecarim. They're just gonna play off each other, but Witzel's the first to roam. The Ghost is gonna be used, the knock-up is gonna be there. There is no flash on this Hecarim, and an easy pickup! And Cyber Ninja's immediately on the board after the use of his Summoners.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, trying to see if they can get in to get that Scuttle Crab that we were talking about, but Ray is far too low, can't be taking these fights, and the second that you have any sort of impact coming through from DCU, it's easy pickings. There's no right for you to be in that river if you don't know exactly where Jarvan is.
Yeah, the priority was there for both laners as well. Witzel could go there, Cyber Ninjas could go there, and the patience from the side of Kalihanna was very nice to see. But we have a skirmish on the top side, but I don't think anything's gonna happen from them.
Now, there will be a little bit of back and forth here, the trading going each side, but you can see that Nullpike is trying to just go for these more aggressive trades because they've got the Corrupting Potion there. Having that more effective sustain means that they can try and eke out a victory in the long run here, but you have to be so careful, particularly as we were already pointing out. Kali does have that Ignite, so suddenly these trades can turn back in favour of this Kali, but with Razor sitting at that top side of the map, I'd be surprised if you're going to see too much aggression coming out from Sengir.
Yeah, should play it safer, especially knowing he doesn't have that flash. But yeah, right now I think you just you take a deep breath. It's only game one. It's only one death. Keep looking for the plays, and we're gonna keep looking for the plays indeed. Ignite does come down. A lot of damage is coming down, but the use there, it's not gonna be enough. With catch push in the tower, 1-for-1 trade in the end, while Razor picks up the kill.
Yeah, that was just over aggression coming in from Niall, not realizing, look, yes, we've got this Hecarim coming up, but I can't go for this super aggressive plays. Of course, having that nerf onto the Kingslayer as well means that you're not really getting as much health back as you used to on this Silas pick, and you can see it there. Rengus having that ignite is enough to take the kill before they go down themselves.
And the return gank, like I was talking about before the game, might be there. No, it's just gonna be back, but Drake has been started up by the side of DCU.
Yeah, we'll be started up just at the moment. We'll have to see if they are going to be able to take that one. I think without much on the way of aggression in that bottom side, we should be okay.
Razor is going to be there. The Shroud is down. Guess is wrong, and Zagnir might just walk away freely. There's no CC just yet. Blasting Plant is going to be there as well. Is going to be used, and there's not going to be any follow-up. Walks away freely.
Yeah, able to escape away from that one. They'll be in good shape. And I think this is the thing. This is why Sengar has been such a nuisance for this top, or for any sort of top lane that goes up against them. Incredibly smart play, realizing exactly how they can go forward, how aggressive they can be, and noticing exactly where all those escape routes are before they try and go for that aggressive play.
Yeah, there's a lot of expertise going into carry tops, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna lose every matchup. I speak very much from experience, but Sengir knows what he's doing. Clearly, he's been showing it throughout most of the tournament as well. Especially in the last series they had, played quite nice games, and it's showing it again on the Zakali pick, which was left open.
My eyes are starting to drift down towards this bottom lane, where you can already see that the BF sword has been picked up by Caitlyn. Tristana has just answered the same, so this is where we're now going to be looking to see how much pressure can Annihilation put down, because it's not going to be working out too hot for them if they cannot keep this Tristana from scaling. Tristana, because she's got the inbuilt attack speed and also has that charge, explosive charge, she's able to have a much stronger mid-game. So if you're not punishing in this early stages, Annihilation is staying even like it looks like at the moment, this could give the opportunity for Minute to kick off through that bottom lane.
Yeah, but there's also, the case of Morgana being there to probably stop most of the aggression, but Reznor is walking into everyone. Stun comes down, damage is gonna come down, and Witzel picks up a freebie.
And there just doesn't really seem to be much in the way of communication from the Minute side right now. You saw that the bot lane were leaving, you know that they're going to be keeping an eye on that blue buff, and they don't say anything. You can see that, look, they've had all the time in the world to sit in this bush. They wait for Razor to show up, and it's either a case of, look, we're going to get the blue buff, or we're going to get a Hecarim and a blue buff. So it works out incredibly well from that time around. Yeah,
it's a very well, show and tell kind of thing with that patience. It happened before where Kayla Heima, oh my god, the name, I'm sorry.
It's a name and a half.
yeah, was waiting at the Skull Crab, and they decided to do it again. Very nice call, very well executed as well. And I'm just at this point, I'm hoping to see them using that advantage and try and snowball a bit more out of it.
Yeah, and one of the big things here is also denying that blue buff from Dara. It's not only a case of, that you're getting a kill onto Razor. If Dara isn't able to get out of this lane, the Sandra becomes a little bit of an easier pick to contain. So now that she doesn't have the blue buff, you can't push as effectively in that mid lane. It'll give an easier time for Cyber Ninjas to control Dara and their movement around the map, and then they should be in relatively good shape as they start to come out of these lanes into those mid game fights.
Yeah, why stop at the blue buff when you can get, a red buff for it as well? Might as well. It's there, it's free, pick it up. Another buff stolen away from the side of Minute, and DCU is just all over this map.
Yeah, and it's so difficult for them to try and bring anything back as well, because their lanes across the board are pretty much losing out. Top lane, 20 CS advantage over towards Sengir right now. The jungler matchup has gone abysmally as well from that early play that we saw where the Jarvan was able to pick up the kill. Razor has just been behind this entire time, so anytime you're going into these fights, you're always the one that is losing out.
Yeah, definitely, and very well, use of this early game Jarvan. Finally, Reznor manages to pick something up from it, gets the red buff on the other side, immediately goes there. The bottom lane did have priority for a while there, so he used that well. Gets spotted out by the Jarvan, so he should know that something is up with him having a red buff,
The big thing coming up though is that Razor is going to hit that level 6 point fairly soon. And this is where the Hecarim ganks become so much more potent. Having no access to that ultimate and the fear means you can position yourself in a much better scenario for these ganks. The problem that I'm seeing though is that I don't know how Hecarim's going to try and get these ganks off. If you run into a Jarvan at any of these opportunities, or any of these times you're going for the ganks, it's a fantastic opportunity for the Jarvan to just solidify that lead and just take it completely over the edge. And there'll be no real room for the jungler from Manu Crusaders to try and come back into it.
Yeah, and look at the amount of freedom they're just getting themselves. Akali can roam from mid, gets the farm. They're gonna try doing something bot, manages to not really get anything out of it, but you know, it just shows that they have what they want. They're in like a position that they can do whatever they want for now, and they really are trying to make use of it, even though the results aren't there yet. Maybe we'll get it soon.
Well, looks like we got another depth rush that's been set up here. I feel Master's back. You know that Morgana wants to go and ward there, but it's such a dangerous position for you to go for.
Maybe with a bit of a Kaelin bait, the Winter Spite does come down. A beautiful Glacial Fissure. Jarvan ult needs to be there as well. Cataclysm does come down, but the ultimate from Kaelin does get blocked. And with the skin on her teeth, manages to walk out.
Yeah, they barely managed to escape there, but it does give the opportunity for Annihilation, as we were saying, to start to put a bit of a lead in here, chip away at these turret plates and get an advantage for this Caitlyn. I want to see them do this again, though, on the top side of the map. Get Kaliyama up there, use the advantages that Sengar has gained for themselves, and try and get this Rift Herald. You've got 3 minutes now before those turret plates go down. If you can use that Rift Herald to get a couple of these plates and get a bit of that extra gold over in your favour, you're going to be in fantastic shape and just accelerate your team to that late game point.
Yeah, that's a very good point. You know, that ever since those turret plates, the Rift Herald has been more valuable, has been more focused as well. It looks like right now they are going to focus on the dragon, but he does get spotted out by a scrying orb, so probably gonna slow down a little bit. Mid laners are gonna try and collapse there. The ghost is gonna be used. A lot of damage already coming down. Has to flash out immediately. A beautiful cleanse, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. The damage is gonna be there. The follow-up is almost there. The ultimate does come down. The double ultimate to stop the aggression, and he walks away with his life. What a beautiful play by Cyber Ninjas.
Incredibly well played by the Cyber Ninjas to escape from that, but a missed call coming through from Kaliyama starts up that dragon, and even though they know that they've been spotted by the Scrying Orb, or by the Scrying Bloom, they still go for it. They still try to continue, and that's the opportunity that Razor needed to try and get themselves back in. Don't quite pick up the kill, but they force Cyber Ninjas back. They get a little bit of chip damage onto that mid lane turret, and now they can start to push out with their vision control, get some into that river, and see if they can try and get some grasp back on this early game.
Yeah, I'm really hoping to see someone revisiting this Orianna, who doesn't have too much mobility, and is both cleanseless and flashless. So that should be an easy pickup if they manage to get away in there. Yeah, very over-aggressive play to just start up this dragon, but we might see a bit more aggressiveness. No. The nice Dark Binding manages to stop everything.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a prayer coming through from the side of DCU Titans anyway in the bottom lane. I mean, you've got no Caitlyn there. You're fully relying on this Jarvan to try and deal the damage that you need. And with both Canis and Masters back there, I wouldn't have been surprised if they actually managed to turn that around. So, I mean, it was a close call, but it doesn't end up going either direction. But we are back towards this dragon. Bottom lane is starting to move up. You've already got the mid laner for the side of DCU Titans moved down to try and cover this. But I don't think that Manu's Crusaders really even want to try and touch this.
No, it definitely doesn't look like it. They did get spotted as well by a nice pink ward in that river, but, you know, just no response. Probably too far behind for now. Have to just wait it out. It's an ocean as well, so not too much of value being missed. But yeah, what can you do at this point? I think you probably just wait.
This is the thing though, it's feeding in towards that late game story that we've been talking about for DCU Titans. Start to build up a few of these dragons. Suddenly at 35 minutes when that Drake comes on board, you can be sure Manu's Crusaders are going, damn it, we've already given, 3 to 4 of these dragons over to this team. We can't go for these fights anymore, and that becomes a pretty terrifying prospect as you start to move forward, particularly with Cyber Ninjas Annihilation.
Ooh, Dark is already being caught out. Cataclysm does come down, uses the ultimate on himself, heals up a lot, and the Onslaught of Shadows does come down. Shockwave manages to hit one, but it's not going to be enough, but the Akali finally manages to pick someone up, uses the E to go backwards, and it's a 1-for-1 trade in the end.
Yeah, we'll be 1-for-1, so no one really picking up much advantage, but Niall wants a bit more.
It's very, he doesn't know what he wants to do just yet. Is he looking forward? Is he not? Senga going very far forward. There is this Hecarim waiting in the backline, but there's also Jarvan, and I think, yeah, they're just gonna walk off. But, oh, Glacier Fisher does manage to pick up this Morgana, but everyone just walks away.
So going back towards that fight in the jungle, it was a little bit of miscommunication coming through from the side of DCU Titans. You could see that Sengir was going forward alongside Cyber Ninjas who thought, okay, cool, we're taking this fight. But instead, they were actually backing away. Kalimana did not want anything more to do with once they got the pick onto Dara. So a little bit of a split call means that there is one kill that goes back over in favour and ends up a bit of an even trade. But we are now coming up to that 15-minute mark. So there is a 2k gold lead over in favour of DCU Titans. The big question here, though, is it going to be enough for them to try and continue pushing forward? Because as you start to come out of this laning phase, Annihilation is not going to do a huge amount. You can see Cyber Ninja still needs a lot more time before that Shockwave really becomes a factor in these team fights. So they're heavily relying on this Jarvan and the Akali to deal the damage that they want. I don't know if it's enough to carry team fights, but as long as they can try and stall out this game and not find big objectives or fights around these big objectives, they should be in relatively good shape.
Yeah, they have a very nice, startup for them. They have a nice early game showing, even though they really didn't quite have to. They managed to pull it out, have the 2k gold lead, have the priority in most lanes. I think Kaliana is gonna look for that West Herald as well, like you were talking about before. Unfortunately, the platings are down, but it still could open up the map even more for them.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing right now is just, look, how do we try and make sure that we're the ones coming out just a small advantage every time in these trades? And that's really what's been netting them the advantages on the side of DCU Titans is, look, we get one kill because we know that we're able to just be stronger than this Hecarim in the early game. Now that we've shut down the Hecarim a little bit, cool, we can go for these aggressive invades. Now we're picking up a few more advantages for ourselves. And this has really been the game plan from DCU Titans, is just keep chipping away at the confidence that Minute Crusaders have and picking up advantages and snowballing through that.
Yeah, and they managed to pull it out quite flawlessly, I'd say. The Rift Herald does get some on top as well, so they decide to open up the top side of the map. Probably not gonna be enough, not close to be enough to getting killed, but they just finish it off.
But I like the way they're playing here. I mean, again, we said,
Shockwave does come down, Witzel's gonna be there. Glacier Fisher hits at the end, Ignite does come down, the healing is gonna be stopped a little bit. The ultimate is gonna stall for a bit of time, Concussion's close does land on this Hecarim, is gonna go very low, is gonna fall in the end for this Orianna, and they pick up another one with a very nice roam.
And I was actually surprised to see Witzel go for the roam. Does have those mobility boots, so is obviously in the mindset of, okay, cool, I want to get out of the map, I want to have an impact in these lanes, because realistically in the bottom side of the map, I'm not going to get very much done. Now gets in towards the mid lane. And as well, don't forget, because they just made that play top, you've got Akali here as well who can come down into the mid lane. They're chipping away at this turret, and it's playing to the strengths of where they're winning on the map. DCU Titans are winning the top lane. Fantastic. Let's go and put a lot more pressure there. We use the Rift Herald up there to take down that first tower. Now we know as well that because Annihilation has the BFs or the pickaxe, they're fine. They can farm from afar. We don't have to worry about the turret because that Piltover Peacemaker can clear out the wave super effectively. Grand, we've now opened up Witzel. Now we can get Witzel on the map, and they're going to need to do so one more time.
Sengir is very far forward. Is gonna E over the wall. Oh, a Shockwave hits 3, and the ultimate from Akali is gonna be there, but only manages to assassinate once. Still doesn't fall. Finally manages to fall, but the Cataclysm is gonna be down. Tristana has to heal out, but another pickup is gonna be coming. No, has to flash and has the mobility to get away. A 1-for-1 trade after all that.
Yeah, they will manage to pick up the blue buff for themselves here, but you got to be a bit careful when you're on the side of DCU Titans. Yes, you're ahead, but you got to wait for everyone to group up together. That's why we can see that despite how low the health bars were on Minute Crusaders, they weren't quite able to finish them off. Annihilation hadn't joined the fight yet. Witzel hadn't come up from the bottom lane. It was effectively a 3v4 in that jungle for a serious portion of time, but you can see how much damage Sengir has right now. With that first item completed, the Oblivion Orb now as well, this Akali is really starting to pack a punch.
Yeah, I was thinking the combination of Jarvan and Orianna was gonna do all the work, but apparently it's Orianna and a straight up dive with that perfect execution from the Akali to do all the damages needed. Manages to stay alive for way longer than I expected with that Gunblade as well, so really nicely played. Bit too far in the end, but still a nice trade when that tower was picked up afterwards as well.
And now, look at where we're standing. We're coming up to that 20-minute mark in the game, and we're saying, look, we want time for the side of DCU Titans to get their items. Well, they're very clearly starting to get to that point. You got Luden's Echo complete on the Orianna. That Oblivion Orb as well means Brown Omicron won't be far around the corner either. Caitlyn has nearly completed her rapid fire cannon or the static shield, whichever they want to go for in that respect. So they're starting to get to these item breakpoints. Now, they still need another, say, about 6 to 10 minutes really to get to where they're in the most comfortable spot that they possibly could be. But the fact that they're winning out these team fights before they even hit that mark is a resounding confidence boost for this team. But Zenger might be cut out.
It's just gonna completely decimate the jungler and is looking for more, but I think he bit off a bit more than he could chew. The binding misses, the E4, it's gonna be there, the flash to follow up, another flash, but are they gonna be able to catch him? No, he's just gonna walk out afterwards. He just got away with murder.
I mean, it was such a nice play from Zenger, and this is what we're talking about, that Akali pick can be such a nuisance to deal with, and suddenly it's popping off in this bottom side jungle when you're winning out in a 1v3 scenario. Well, that opens up everyone from DCU Titans to do what they want, and it looks like top lane is what they want right now.
That was just a bit of beauty, and even though there's, you know, the mechanics are clearly there, but they respond with such nice map movements as well, going towards that top lane, and just looks like they're just gonna either get Vision on Baron or start Baron up, you know, entirely.
Yeah, I'd be surprised to see them start it right now. They do have Vision control, but a lot of those people that they just picked off are respawning, so I'd much rather see them back, spend the gold that they just picked up for themselves, and then try and go towards this objective. Like, don't forget, no matter, even though this game is accelerating incredibly fast, we're still only 21 minutes into the game. Like, this isn't a lot of time. Like, a lot of these guys are still pretty weak and need to get a little bit more into their back pockets before they can really go toe-to-toe with that big purple worm.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You know, so much happening. I thought we were already closing to the end.
Like it,
yeah. We're maybe in the mid lane, and it looks like we're going a bit more fighting. Well, this Akali is gonna fight the Sylas matchup, close on energy, so probably just gonna walk away. Yeah.
And you can see like how scared Niall is right now. Going in for a complete spirit visage, so not even looking to try and take fights, just survive.
Everyone is in the mid lane. The shockwave hits too. The damage is there. Glacial Fisher only manages to hit the Lissandra. Ignite does come down as well. Orianna has to flash away, and Witchell is just gonna die for the mid laner Sins, I guess. And the Cataclysm is gonna come down on this Akali as well. Use perfect execution to get away. It's probably just gonna walk out again because it's Akali.
Yeah, I mean, Akali does what Akali wants, but this is kind of speaking to a little bit of an issue that I'm looking at on DCU Titan's side right now. Their vision control hasn't been that good. Despite the fact that they've been ahead for most of the game, it's actually been red wards that I've seen mostly on the map. You can see that they're littered all throughout that top side jungle quadrant, but I haven't seen much in the way of blue wards going down. Yes, there was 1 or 2 in a round, and it's been pretty much Witzel who's on ward duty, and even when you can see they've just backed and are now coming out of base, there's a single controlled ward, and that's only on Zenger as well, which is not going to help out at all around this Baron.
Yeah, you're right. They had a bit of vision control after they pushed down the top laner. I'm hoping they're gonna try and reclaim it now. You know, that mid lane fight is not something you want to happen, and it's gonna make you lose probably a lot of vision, but hopefully, you know, they're already starting to clear some of it out quite soon already. Yeah.
But this is always the ward game when it comes to Baron. It comes in waves. It's like a tide coming in and out. The wards will go down now for the side of DCU Titans, and then it'll be on Minute's Crusaders to start to push that back off of the beach. But now they've got to hold the shores, as it looks like Baron has been started up, and they have no idea that this is going down. We'll get a ward over, so now spot up with that 6,000 HP.
It's going rather slow, so there might be some opportunity. Zenger is going to be TPing in, is probably going to be able to 1v4 for a lot of the time. The other TP from the other side now is going to be TPing as well. Zenger, he's back and is going to be joining his team, and now is going to be all alone, needs to dash over the wall, and in the end, the purple worm is just going to be, you know, regenning, and nothing is going to really happen from it.
That was such a strange call coming in from both sides. Zenger teleports in for the fight, but everyone else on the side of DCU Titans is still standing in the Baron pit. Nobody's even damaging the objective because they're like, are we doing this? Like, what's the call here? Are we going over to fight? Are we staying in the pit? Nobody really knows, and in the end, everyone ends up backing away. So the Baron won't fall. but it is giving a little bit of an opportunity for the side of Minute Crusaders to steady the ship a little bit. While this is all said and done though, DCU Titans will pick up their 4th Drake of the game.
Yeah, a bit of an answer in the end. Blue buff, they're gonna be looking for that as well, but Resnor is gonna be there. Will we spot it out? I don't think he's gonna have anything. Yeah, he can't do really anything about it. Oh, actually they're gonna... Okay, they're gonna leave the blue buff. Don't need it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's all good. I mean, look, just leave the Blue Sentinel alive for a little bit longer. He's had a rough day. He's seen a lot of people die for his sake as well. So maybe just give him a whiskey and let him chill out for a little bit.
Yeah, probably we're scared. You know, they didn't have too much vision around that side, so smartly decide to just call it off. It's just a blue buff. You don't need to fight over it again.
Yeah, but we will have to see how this one is going to go forward. So even if blue buff is left standing, I don't think that these turrets are going to be left standing for very long as well. The big one that I'm looking at is Senger now. So no teleport available.
Who goes into 2, gets the micro stun, uses the shroud to... Oh my god! Completely burst down his Morgana, and he wants more. He wants to see more blood, gets a double kill, and of course, you know, they're gonna try and look for this Baron because they know everyone's top side.
Yeah, that was an insane play. Picks off, crucially, the jungler as well, which means that there's no hope for a steal. Witzel now is on just bodyguard duty to try and keep people off of this, but if Witzel has taken enough damage, might slow this up a little bit, might be enough time for the Baron to take down the Jarvan relatively low. Don't forget they've gone for this AD build. The Sterex is great when it gets popped, but it's not really going to give you enough health to try and keep off of this Baron right now.
Yeah, it seems like they still don't want to go and, you know, take that risk, take it rather slowly, and, you know, all the power to them. They do have that late game. It's, you know, gonna be stacking up. They'll probably have some more damage in 5 minutes, which will be enough to burst it down, but for now they're probably just gonna wait and see till they get some more gold out of another tower.
But Dutch, the problem is that as this game continues to go, we're hitting that 30-minute mark. This is the crucial moment where we're starting to see those third items completed on the big carries for DCU Titans. The second Zeal item is very much underway for this Caitlyn after just picking that up. You can see Morellonomicon should be completed once Orianna does back away. There it is. And now they're going to be working up towards another item as well. So this is where it starts to become very dangerous for the side of Minute Crusaders to try and take these fights. In particular, if they don't have vision, you can very quickly walk into a Glacial Fissure straight onto a Shockwave, and that could be good night entirely for Minute Crusaders hoping this game won.
Yeah, definitely it's going to be more and more dangerous. There is the small possibility that you get the perfect setup with the Lissandra, with a nice Silas ultimate that he steals from, say, a Kali or a Cataclysm, a Shockwave probably as well, and the Hecarim and the Lissandra just go through the backline. You know, the dream scenario can be there, but it will be more and more difficult to execute it, while Resnor again finds DCU in his own jungle.
And this is the thing, I mean, we're talking about team fights. I don't think we're ever going to hit team fights. Right now, it just seems to be skirmishes across the board, particularly when Senger is able to do so much here. Now, trying to take on the 2v2.
Yeah, I think he's a bit of a more than he could chew. Finally, perfect execution has been stolen. Manages to ult forward, manages to E-forward. No, the chain hit a minion. Now it's going to be the one to be chased upon. And Tristana is all alone. Damage is going to be there. Cataclysm is going to be there. Will finally be picked up by this Jarvan. And the next to follow will be this Hecarim. I don't think he's gonna have enough to... Woo! The close flash from Jarvan manages to barely get out. Shockwave completely misses, unfortunately, and Minute just gets nothing and gets taken away everything.
Yeah, and you can see the difference here is how spread out these fights are. It fits so well for the composition that DCU have. I mean, whenever you see an Orianna, like, well, clearly we want big team fights so we can Shockwave, but look at the rest of the team. I mean, Senger loves these small skirmishes that they can get involved in. The Jarvan as well with this AD build is much happier when they can go into a 1v1 or a 2v2 because there's not going to be a whole bunch of damage that can take out this Jarvan very quickly. You can see how quickly instead they're taking out this Tristana, who unfortunately is just getting leaped on by everyone on DCU Titan side. Doesn't matter if you have a jump, doesn't matter if you have a flash, you're still going down in these scraps.
Yeah, that was some incredibly well coordinated catching. A very nice turnaround from what looked like Senger being a bit too far forward to a complete turnaround from the side of DCU. That backline just got blown up, and at that point you gotta feel, you know, like, what can we do? A little bit of desperation will will probably sink in for you for this first game now.
And this is the thing, it's all on the Tristana as well to be the big carry for their team. Yes, you've got the Hecarim's gone from Triforce, but it's not really going to be a big factor.
Hecarim is going to be there, also the Shadow is going to be used, and this Caitlyn's going to fall almost, but the 4-man Shockwave is going to stall a little bit. Caitlyn being picked up, Hecarim is going to fall next, Lissandra is going to be very low, uses the stopwatch to stall for a bit of time, but it looks like no, it's gonna look like Manute is gonna fall completely. Sanger wasn't even there to join the fight, and now it's gonna be the last to fall. A ace for just 2 members.
Yeah, a 4v5 fight going in favor of DCU Titans. It's going to spell massive issues in the Manute Crusaders camp and in their base as well. This inhibitor is most certainly going to fall, and with 20 seconds left, they could maybe even take one Nexus turret if they want. My choice though will be to back away, spend the gold you have, and then turn towards that Baron.
There's even a possibility to get another Mountain Drake under your belt. It's up, yeah, there's pings on it, you know, might as well get an easier ban after it. That was just some incredible team fighting. That Shockwave buying so much time for them was really nice to see. I thought it was gonna be over, but they managed to turn it around, and it was a 5v4, and even that wasn't enough for Manute to win this battle.
And that's the thing, we're already saying, look, you need the Tristana to be in good shape, be the one that's carrying the team, but the Tristana is being taken out so quickly in these team fights that you're not really getting to use that damage that the little Yordle has right now. Instead, Razor's being blown up incredibly fast. Yes, they're taking 1 kill with them when they do it, but it's not really onto the big crucial members that we're seeing, like Cyber Ninjas, 5, 1 and 6 on this Orianna. They've been playing out of their mind this game.
Yeah, it's really the name of the game. The name of the game this game is gonna be the solo lanes who are playing beautifully, while the other one is doing a completely other job than the other one. Like Cyber Ninjas is gonna be that team fighting monster, while Sanger is just gonna be split pushing, and he goes forward again into their whole team because he can. And Whistle's gonna be there. Glacier Fisher manages to hit one. Sanger is gonna be split in this fight, but the ultimate from the Sun does come down. Stopwatch is being used, but now it's just tapping away at the front line. It doesn't really matter who they have. The damage is so easy to go through, and they pick up another 3 actually for just Cyber Ninjas to fall.
And now it's desperation time for Manute. 4 members from the side of DCU Titans are encroaching on their base. You've only got Tristana and this Lissandra here at the moment. I don't think they can defend this.
No minion wave just yet, but they look their side towards top. That tower is gonna fall, that inhibitor is gonna fall for sure, and maybe we're gonna have the end of the game on our hands as well.
Well, you do have respawns coming through. Master Spack has just arrived back in shape, but why not just rinse and repeat? I mean, you're winning out in these team fights around Baron, threaten it, even start it up, and then you're forcing the side of Crusaders to try and stop this. But they're losing out on the fights every single time. You can see Non-Nation now hopping over the wall. They've got control of the area, and they're going to start it up.
Yeah, this should be as free as a pickup as it can be. The 2 Mountain Drakes on their side. The damage is going to be there with that Caitlyn. And yeah, I do want to point something out. I thought Nell was going to be a tank player. Picked Silas, but he decides that Silas is a tank. So went with a tank build as well, which I haven't seen before myself. But, you know, just there to point it out, and that's interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I really would have preferred to see them go for that AP stall, but I think the bigger problem is just that Sanger got so far ahead in this early stage of the game that they were kind of afraid to go for that build, because they realized, look, if that is the case, I'm going to be so squishy that Rengus can just dive me, or Sanger even can just dive me underneath these turrets, and I'm not going to be able to survive. So I was kind of forced into it because of necessity, but it means that in the long run it really isn't helping them out so much.
Yeah, it's probably hurting them more than you'd like to see. The tank is just gonna be... Yeah, it doesn't matter how much items you have at this point, you're just so far behind, you're gonna get bursted, and DPS down, and there won't be a lot that you can do. DCU... Oh, go on.
Sorry, I think they just really need a secondary carry right now, and I don't know who that's supposed to be. I was thinking that it could be almost like a, okay, we do a 50/50 on the carry. It's like Lissandra kind of half does damage, Silas also half does damage, but really we're relying on Tristana. But now that you've gone for that tank build, you've only got really 1.5 carries on your team, because Rengus is going in and killing someone, but instantly getting blown up, and maybe not even killing someone.
Rose to find us come down. Glacier Fisher is there. The Shockwave manages to hit through the stun and immediately gets blown up. Caitlyn is still alive, is still gonna be able to do a lot of damage. Nobody falls from the side of DCU just yet, and this Silas is gonna get nothing out of it. jumps into 5 people. A very nice quadra kill by Annihilation, and the end is gonna be there.
Yeah, I mean, it was very strong, very competent play from DCU Titans from start to finish, realizing, look, we've got our advantage in the jungle role, we're going to push that forward. They get an early kill onto Razor and never let up. It never looked like Razor was going to be a threat in this fight. It gave them the opportunity for their carries to get to the 3 to 4 items that they really wanted to, and we saw how well they played the team fights there.
Yeah, very well played. The 5v5 just was never gonna happen. They tried in the end, which, you know, I always like to see. Even when you're behind, you're gonna have to try and get a pick, get something out of it, because you're gonna get bled out in the end. Tried something, didn't work out, unfortunately. Too far behind, and, you know, now you're just gonna have to focus on game 2. And I think we both quite know what's gonna be in the ban list for game 2.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I would be surprised to see the likes of that Akali get through one more time, but we will have to see if that is going to be the case. We will be coming back with game 2 of this quarterfinals in just a few moments, but go get yourself a glass of water. This is your daily reminder to go stay hydrated, but make sure you are back, as we'll be back with more college action.
Welcome to the world, no heroes and villains,
And the Sivir being over as well. Yeah, that's a Sivir pick. So also, I think that's a takeaway from now Lation, who has been spamming his champion in this tournament.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see them go for the support now as well. Just pair that Sivir up with your pick right now. Could end up going towards the Brom that we saw that Witzel did play in the last game. Could be Masters Pack wants to just swap supports in this second game. But I think you really need to pick up something here so that then you can try and deal with this. Because if you start leaving those supports in towards that second ban phase, it suddenly becomes a lot more difficult for yourself to try and find an answer towards this Morgana. Could be the Shen in the bottom lane. I'm not the biggest fan here just because of how telegraphed Shen's taunt is. Using the Black Shield makes it a lot easier, but could also be going up towards Null Pike in that top lane. Just get that nice bit of split push going. Usually can deal fairly well with a lot of the tanks that are coming out, but there it is. You leave the Aurelia open, they're going to take that straight away for saying.
Yeah, and there are maybe a bit more comfortable now, that he's not a tank, a pure tank player. I'm actually quite glad to see that they picked a tank from early game. I'm expecting, like you said, some support bans, but the Galio wasn't picked as well, so that means that Dara is gonna get a new champion that we haven't seen before in this tournament.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a very odd one to now put in towards the mid lane. And this was something that we were talking about off cast, which was actually that Dara hasn't been the most aggressive in the lane, which means Cyber Ninjas kind of has the mill there. They've been able to move first. They've been roaming whenever the jungler needs help. And it did get them that early advantage in the last game. And now that you're going to see them onto something of a non-comfort pick here as well, that's only going to be established even harder in that lane. You've got Sengir winning on the top lane for DCU as well. So it suddenly becomes a lot more difficult for them to try and keep control of this map.
Yeah, definitely you're right, but there are some options they can still work around. I'm really curious what this last ban is going to be, if it's going to be another mid lane ban or just that support. It will be that support. Yeah, Alistar, of course, is still very strong. Actually a bit surprising, but a good takeaway to have. And then we'll probably see another ADC ban. The jungle pool is just too big now, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, there we go. The Lucian is going to be taken away as well. Then we still have Tristana up. Ezreal is still up as well, so that might be good pickups right here.
We'll have to see how we start to go forward, though. I want to see what this pick is going to be for Dara. I think he needs some sort of mid-game damage coming out from the side of Manuth right now. Yeah, Rek'Sai can try and carry you through those early stages of the game, but you really need something that's going to back up the damage that Rek'Sai can do. And right now, with Sivir, who wants to tend towards those 4 items, that late-game Sivir that we all know and maybe don't love, but at least he'll be seeing that coming through. So get something strong in this mid lane, but you're going to have to go up against Lissandra. So we'll have to see what they decide to go for when they do lock in something here for Dara.
And it's a bit of a ballsy jungle pick, I'd say, in the Zek that won't be able to have any, if this Rek'Sai plays well control in that early game, will play out quite nicely with that Zek and the Stunner the further the games goes on. And the Thresh actually also a very good answer into that Zek, who can just flay him away from the slingshot. So, I'd say it's a bit of a ballsy blind pick. I would have preferred to see an ADC there, but it could still work out in the end. And then lastly, you should be able to get, that Dara pick that we've been waiting for, expecting.
So the big thing here, though, is with that Zac locked in, this is now possibly the redemption game for Razor. The Rek'Sai has full control in this matchup in the early game, so I want to see what Razor can now do here. You won't be interrupted at all by this Zac. In fact, it's the Zac who's got to go and run away from this, and maybe we can see a few unique ganks come in, especially with the unique paths that Rek'Sai has in that jungle to try and influence these lanes. Otherwise, I feel like it's going to be very difficult for Manuth now to try and sit back and farm up until Sivir can get to those late game stages. We do have the Syndra locked in for Dara in that mid lane, so we do have at least a champion that can deal a lot and have a lot of effect in these mid game fights, either trying to remove something like the Kai'Sa out of these fights. But I'm a little bit wary about the Manuth lineup here.
Yeah, I think both team comms have a bit of a differentiation, a different style than they had last game, where that early game jungle was the name of the game for the side of DCU. They decide to put it back somewhat, have a bit of a safer bot lane as well, and try and skill even more than they did before. That low range Kai'Sa and the Morgana should probably still be pushing out Sivir and Thresh if this Thresh isn't willing to use his abilities aggressively. And then, you have the more damage-oriented and a bit less utility-oriented mid lane for the side of Maynooth. So we do have some completely different plans from both these teams, and I'm curious to see how they stack up this time.
Yeah, my eyes are going to be on that top lane, though, for that early stage of the game. I want to see if Sengar can try and get the same lead that they gained for themselves in game one. Should be able to do it with the matchup that they have at the moment. Aurelia does end up winning out against the Shen. Yes, you've got the opportunity to block out a little bit of damage with the Spirit's Refuge, but realistically, the Aurelia still has a lot of maneuverability and a lot of ways to effectively punish that Shen. So wouldn't be surprised to see Razor try and get up there and shut down Sengar for the moment anyway, particularly when that Triforce gets hit as well on the Aurelia. This is where we start to see a massive split push Thresh come in for the side of DCU. Thresh is off on the other side of the map. It's okay, but yeah, I think it's going to be really crucial here for to try and shut that down early. Sengar, we could see once they got the Kali rolling, was very happy to sit down in that bottom lane, pick off members in 1v3 scenarios. It didn't matter, toss everyone at him. He was still managing to escape, and that is a very much a threat one more time with this Aurelia.
Keep in mind, though, this Aurelia does have a little bit, just a tad bit less mobility than this Akali for the escapes. So it should be easier to be, he should be playing a little bit less ballsy than he was last time, but the opportunity still will be there, especially if he gets ahead into the Shen matchup, which, should be quite hard, I think, for Aurelia in those early stages with the taunt, with the empowered auto attacks, with the threat of Razor actually getting in that top lane. So he should have a bit less free of a lane, but I'm curious to see how, the further in the game we end up, how far that either team can just pull away and then try and win from them.
Yeah, I'm looking at these junglers as well. Very unique gank paths for both Rek'Sai and for Zac. So the warding is going to have to be a little bit different than usual from what you would expect for both of these sides. But as we were saying, this is the redemption game for Razor. Didn't have the impact that you wanted on the Hecarim, and it was down to an incredibly strong game from Kaliamna, realizing, look, I've got the advantage in this matchup. I'm going to take both these Scuttle Crabs. Ended up beating out Razor in the early game and snowballed that lead very effectively. Now, though, it is the advantages are in the Rek'Sai's favor, and I want to see what Razor can do, especially on this champion that arguably is the strongest jungler on this patch and has free roam of the map. If they can get in and try and disrupt these lanes, it could set up Maynooth for pushing us towards that game 3, but it is a very tough order to call, particularly with how well DCU have been playing.
Yeah, that should be taken into account as well. DCU has that game up, the mental advantage is gonna be there, and that's just gonna be the case. And it's gonna be, how do you work around it? Are you gonna be tilted? Are you gonna mentally reset? Take this game as a completely different experience. This will be very important for especially Maynooth, and DCU should be trying to ride the highs of their last game. The incredible both macro and micro from all the players was really there, and hopefully they can manage to transition it into that second game and try and snowball again. But it will be a bit more difficult, and this Rek'Sai with this Conqueror, as you see here, is going to be absolutely insane in the damage department.
Rek'Sai is going for that Conqueror because, of course, it's so easy to stack that up. It's actually the champion that can stack that Conqueror to those 5 stacks the fastest in the game. Crazy how often you can get up to that point. But we'll have to see if they're going to be able to utilize that to great effect or if they will find themselves struggling. But my eyes are also going passing down towards that bottom lane. Annihilation has now got their hands onto that Kai'Sa, so could deal a decent chunk of damage, and this is something that we've started to see from the AD carries, is tending towards those AD carries that can pop off after those items. It's going to be that Gwynsu's Rageblade and that Stormrazor's first, so this is the one that I want to see if they can try and get rolling in the early stages.
Yeah, it's a bit of a reverse situation as last time. That Thresh shouldn't really have, shouldn't really be able to catch anyone out if the the Black Shield, is going to be there. It's going to be good, but he might actually get an invade over here.
Most certainly could. I mean, it looks like they're all grouped up. A lot of CC on the early stages. Oh, hang on. Could be seeing that Master's back. Yeah.
Dark Binding. they forced the flash, and that that's a good start already.
Yeah, fantastic start. But we did see this in the last game, where Cyber Ninjas had both the cleanse and the flash that were taken away from them, but we never saw that punished or really utilized at all by the side of Manuth. Now DCU have a summoner spell down on their opponents. Can they try and get it and make use of that? Zach is fantastic at punishing these opportunities, but the issue is, of course, that it is on the thresh. The flay is always a big factor nullifying those Zach ganks.
At least he can't lantern out himself. There's that going for you. There's not going to be any escape if they get on him, but we'll have to wait and see if they actually try and get any early aggressiveness from this Zach, who probably wants a bit, like 3-4 levels on that E to really get that range going.
Well, we are going to be looking at a little bit of a different jungle path coming in from both these guys. Razor has kicked things off on the bottom side of the map, and we're looking at Zach, who's going to be starting on the top. So this is where I like to see... Ooh.
Dark. Oh, that's just a dark binding.
It's a warning dark binding. It's a warning. It's like, we could have followed up on that if we wanted to, but not going to be doing it this time around. But I like where Zach's going here. Trying to avoid Razor at all costs in this early stage of the game. And by starting off on that top side of the map means that, look, I can have this free clear. I'm not going to be worried about running in against this Rek'Sai at any point in time. And look where the wards are as well. They spot all routes into their own jungle. It means that then if Razor ever decides to go for that vertical jungling, it can be answered by the Zach.
Yeah, and even, if this Rek'Sai is really going for that level 2 gank, they spot it out immediately, decide not to go for it, and pause instead, I think we're at DC.
Yeah, a wee bit of a disconnect there for Thresh in the bottom lane. Looks at it and goes, hey, wait, I don't have a flash. What's going on? But that's burned earlier on. I'm waiting to see now where Rek'Sai is going to go. We can actually see, looking at this, though, cleared out the Krugs. Now, possibly moving in towards that river to get the Scuttle Crab. We'll end up running into Zach as well here, though. Okay. And with that Tremor Sense, we'll know that the Zach is nearby. Yeah,
but the Zach spots him out as well, so it's probably gonna... Should be taking it safe anyway. No way do you want to battle this Rek'Sai this early on, and the bot lane is...
Say that.
Yeah, the bot lane is gonna be there to follow up, but top lane is fighting. There's no way.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're trying to do here. As we were saying, Zach does not have control in this matchup, does not win out. I actually thought that maybe Razor had started up the Scuttle Crab and that they were trying to smite it away, but going for that play when you not only have the losing bot lane at the moment as well, because Thresh can offer a little bit more in the CC and AoE CC than the Morgana right now. To say that, the mid lane, a lot of damage being traded back and forth.
Yeah, and meanwhile there's another skirmish in the jungle. Trying to look at my minimap, seeing what's happening, because Rek'Sai knows where Zach is and wants to push him out, but does not manage to. Bot lane was gonna be there for the follow-up, and I think Zach managed to get his own blue buff as well. Yeah, so Zach will manage to hold on to that moment, and this has been a bit of wasted time coming in from Razor. Actually, no, Razor did manage to steal away, just judging from the levels, but Razor is trying to push the advantages. Stealing away the camp isn't the biggest threat. I mean, yes, it would have been nice for the Zach to pick that up, but it's not going to hinder them too much, of course, because Zach doesn't use mana to try and clear out these jungles. The big thing is, though, losing out on that Scuttle Crab, now losing out on the buff, just lets them behind a little bit on the levels, but nothing that they can't come back from. Ooh, Zach is going to be there. There's a flash for Thresh. Used his flay, but it was no follow-up just yet. Yeah, they don't want to flash for it, so they just let him go.
Yep, just about managing to get out of that one. Yep. You can see that the hook did land crucially onto the AD carry, so not a huge amount of follow-up damage there. Meant that they were able to escape, but see, Witzel still pushing forward, still wanting to be aggressive in this lane, which means Sivir does have to play a little bit more careful in case Zach is coming around the corner.
Yeah, the top lane is looking way rougher than I expected. Witzel?
Oh, that was 100% a fat finger. I have been in that situation before. It is not fun. But yeah, that is definitely unfortunate, particularly when you can see that Zach is hovering so much in this bottom lane. Not having that flash available is really going to hinder them, because you can make some really cool plays with that, where you do go for the flash binding, or even when you hit that level 6, going for the flash all in with the ultimate. But won't have that one available for themselves. I'm taking a quick look over towards that Mountain Drake as well that has just spawned. So both of these teams will really want to get their hands on that. In particular, I'm looking at these short-range AD carries. Whenever they're in the game, Mountain Drake spikes so much more when it comes to how important it is, because you don't really have the opportunity, say with like Caitlyn, to take a lot of pop shots onto these turrets. Instead, you've really got to make every hit count. So getting a little bit extra damage off of that Mountain Drake can really be crucial in a few of these siege scenarios.
Ooh, there's a fight in the top lane. This Shen might be a bit too far forward. The damage does come down, but the taunt is nice and manages to get out in the end.
Yeah, and look at the difference. It's going to be Senger as well, who has managed to picked up 2 long swords, but unless it's a spectator bug, didn't actually use the teleport to get back up into lane. So they've managed to hold on to that. Now punishing this Shen, so Nullpike should be using the teleport, actually won't, instead going to walk back to lane. I don't know if I agree with this. I actually would have preferred for him to use the teleport. We'll have the Stand United available in a couple more levels, so should have been able to utilize that, but instead is just going to let that CS advantage slowly start to gain in favor of Sengir.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. You know, you have that ultimate, which is basically a TP but better. Doesn't still saves his TP. I guess maybe for if he wants to TP back after he used Stand United, I'm not sure, but decides to just walk back into lane. I don't think the lane was shoved too far either way, so didn't miss too much.
Yeah, my eyes though are on the Zac, who has managed to come up the top lane.
Oh, doesn't manage to hit it, but Senger is going very far. The third shots are going to be there, slow is going to be there as well. Last third shot doesn't fire.
That was very close. You see that Zac was trying to see if they could get the hook onto Niall to try and pull them back in, but weren't quite able to connect it. Instead finds himself hugging 2 minions together. That means that they will be able to escape out of that one, but you got to be very careful. Senger went super aggressive there, takes a lot of terror shots, and now could be in a difficult situation.
Yeah, that's a flashless Shen, but that doesn't even matter because the response is gonna be there. The bot lane manages to get that priority and immediately rotates to that Mountain Drake, which you said already is super important for both these teams right now.
So we're coming up to that 8-minute mark in a couple of seconds, and we are starting to see that, look, there's a bit of advantage being gained over in the top lane for DCU, but across the rest of the map is pretty even, so I wouldn't be surprised to see us now, because of how much pressure Zac is putting in his top lane.
Ooh, they're still going in. That's a flashless Shen. The damage not there just quite yet. It's gonna be a bit of a slow one, but I think they managed. They should. No, he's just gonna walk out under his tower. No follow-up. I think the Q reset was not there.
Yeah, they just weren't quite able to take it down. Spirit's Refuge blocks out a lot of the damage, and even with the red buff on the Zac, they weren't quite able to slow them up enough to try and take out the Shen. So Nullpike will just about manage to hold on, and as we said, didn't use that teleport initially, but then looks like they're going to walk back to lane. No, there we go. I was waiting for that teleport. It's like, you got to use it at some stage, bud.
Ooh, hook does land, but Witzel's going to be there. I'll walk away.
Yeah, Witzel actually playing a little bit far forward, very kind of split out there, and trying to see if he can stop the backs.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just trying to delay here a little bit. You can see that the Kai'Sa has already gotten back, so does have that BF sword. So as long as Witzel can delay this, they can start to push in a little bit further. So the big thing that we're looking for here is once that Storm Rage is completed, Annihilation will have that Acathian Rain upgrade as well, so can start to push a little bit more effectively back against the Sivir. That's why we're seeing a slight CS deficit, only a little one, but that's just because of the pushing power Sivir has at the moment.
Yeah, definitely TP used on both laners now. Nice invade actually for the side of Manuth. They probably give over this blue buff to... Nope, I don't think...
No, it's all about being selfish in this one. Razor will pick up the blue.
Ooh, the Death Sentence is gonna be there! And the pickup will just as well be as easy as ever. Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, no black shield available there. You can see everyone was like, go, go, go! Flash in, get the kill, don't give them the opportunity to escape whatsoever. And it will be Witzel falling over first blood.
Yeah, really nice pickup. Bit of a really like a turnaround from the bot lane, and we can see the jungler making the same use of it, invading and catching people out. Very nice played. Stun does land on the Shen. There is still no flash, but the taunt is going to be enough to get him out.
We need to see more of this from Razor. At the moment, it's actually been hope. Hang on a second.
Vanguard as does come down. The Q has been used. Okay, the damage is going to be there. Zach's going to be there to get in the bot lane. Death Sentence does land on The Kaisa and oh, the trash beautifully gets put into the turret and gets binded as well. Not able to get out. Flash ultimate comes down from this Morgana. The Sandra is going to be there follow up. It's going to be a bit far back, but it doesn't matter. And just picks up a freebie. I think that was a bit of overextension from the side of Minus.
Oh, 100%. And this is what I was going to say was I want to see Razor going in more aggressive and getting their lanes ahead, but they got to be careful of where Kalihama is right now. Essentially, if you're not going to be able to get your damage off as the Rek'Sai, the Zac is like you on steroids. You've got so much more knock-up, way more CC, and that was a fantastic play from Kalihama as well. Picking up everyone underneath the turret, and it's landing them straight into a Dark Binding coming out from Witzel. The team coordination is there for DCU, and they suddenly catapult themselves to 4 kills and almost a 3k gold lead right now.
Yeah, I thought it was a surefire death for Annihilation as soon as he got hooked, but no, the Let's Bounce was there, puts them all under the tower. Witzel manages to snipe out the trash, so he just keeps tanking the turret. So very well coordinated from the side of DCU, and they can completely turn this game around already.
And this is a big issue because, of course, we're already kind of saying, look, you've got the opportunity for Razor to now be this big impact, to get these ganks off and get their team ahead. Instead, it's Kalihama who's been making all the plays happen on the side of DCU. They're the one that, despite, you know, losing out on these 2 blue buffs, has actually been the aggressive one, the one getting their team ahead. And because of that, you're seeing issues like this for Null Pike in the top lane.
Yeah, Zach's gonna be there. That slingshot manages to miss with the stun. You don't even need to hit more CC, just hit the one, get the kill, nice little pickup. Shannon's gonna go down, and he is having a really rough time against Sengir.
And it's only going to get worse. That Triforce is nearly completed as well. You've got the team app for the pushing power, and even the greediest of builds as well, picking up the magical footwear as well, means that they don't even have to spend the 300 gold on the boots. It's all going into damage. It's swords, hammers, and axes for the side of Rengus right now, and it's death and despair for Nile Pike in the top lane.
Yeah, Razor is gonna look for a dive, which I think is very greedy. Curious what's gonna happen. The Stand United does come down. The stun lands and the Morgana is gonna fall, so very well played. They lose a turret for it, but I think they really want this trade to happen, so they use the ultimate from Shen to get it.
I feel like you're still going to win out though on the DCU side. You've got that top lane turret. First blood gold over into the hands of this Aurelia. You're also going for Rift Herald on the Zac, which means that your effective payoff once you do get that big Rift Herald down is going to pay out dividends for you as well. And one more time, who's the kill actually going over to? I mean, it's going over onto the jungler who hasn't really been able to have an impact, and as these team fights start to get going, isn't going to have an opportunity to get even more of an impact. Would have been much better if it went onto the likes of Canis on this Sivir, and then they can start to get their items and get themselves rolling, but unfortunately that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, your hands are tied behind your back, so you're trying to make something happen. They get the tower in the end. The slingshot, ooh, nice flash away from the Syndra.
Yeah, the Scatter Weak as well worked very well just to push the Zac underneath that turret. And they had to try and get out of there as well. So, even though we're look at the overall map play from that last one. Turret goes down 1 for 1, but you're still winning out slightly on the side of DCU because you've got that first blood gold. You've also got the Rift Herald now over into the hands of this team as well. Actually, did they not pick it up? No.
Wait. Well, I think you're right.
I don't think they picked it up.
Oh my God.
Whoops. So, well, that doesn't help out, but okay, so basically when all's said and done, we're just looking at those turrets. So things aren't looking as bad for Minute as I was going to say, but yeah, no, that's a bit of an oopsie.
Whoa, you get some gold for killing that Rift Herald. Give it some credit.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, that's fair, yeah.
I don't know what... That's just so unfortunate. Especially in a series like this, you know, if you win, you're just done, and then these tiny little things can surely, like, turn around the entire game, and just forgetting to pick it up.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but they're still in relatively good shape, so even with that tower going down in the bottom lane, it kind of feeds better into the hands of the DCU lineup. You can see they've got those 2 teleports on both Alessandro and the Aurelia, so going into this 1-3-1 style works wonders for them. Gives Annihilation a lot of freedom in this mid lane as well to get up towards that Guinsoo's Rage Blade, but instead they actually want to just try and 5-man this in the mid lane. Even Sengir has made their way down. Dodges there from the start of the week.
Nice little sidestep. Flash does come in. Morgana does get hit and his Tish is gonna fall. Not enough resistance is on that one, of course, so a nice pickup from side of Manuth. But Zek is all the way in the backline. I don't think he's gonna have a way out. Has to use the Let's Bounce, actually. Oh, the death sentence actually hits on Sengir, but the Vanguard S hits everyone. Is not gonna be enough. They're just too far forward, being played too greedily, and Cyber Ninja is gonna be the next to fall, surely.
We'll go into the pit, but it's not gonna be able to escape, and disaster from the side of DCU. Might get one back to the nation. Yeah, we'll get one there, but oh my, I just couldn't get the concept that they were going for there, going in towards that fight. You've already overextended trying to get the tower. Yes, it was a nice idea to try and collapse on as 5, but realistically it would have been better if you actually tried to catch someone out. Let Dara walk up the turret to try and clear the wave, then have Sengir come in behind it, but fortunately timing was just off. A great scatter of the week comes in from Dara to get Witzel to start off that fight, and at that point you put up your hands and say, look guys, this isn't working out, it's all gone the wrong way, we're going to just back off. Instead they try to save the Zac as well, and ends up costing them so many more kills, and suddenly that 3k gold lead that we're saying is working wonders for DCU has vanished.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, we saw it on the side of Minute first, and now DCU is the one making these maybe silly mistakes, and we could say that maybe it's some serious jitters here. A bit of nervousness in this playoffs bracket, you know, playing out already, because especially considering the last game, these are some really uncharacteristic mistakes.
But we're still seeing the quintessential DCU vision control there. So now that they've realized their mistakes, maybe they can take a little bit more of an even. River is fully in their control. They're starting to push it up into the enemy jungler as well, and that's why we can see Sengir getting that aggression in the bottom lane, trying to see if they can pick off one more turret for themselves.
Yeah, really trying to force something down on this mid lane, but Sengir, you know, just pushing down bot. Yeah, there it is. Turret being taken already. Good call by them to get another tower on the board.
Easy as you like, and even though we're kind of going, okay, team fights, not so hot for the DCU side. Their split push is definitely fully in their favor. Triforce completed onto Rengus now, and near 70 CS lead as well for this top laner. Sengir is looking like he might be able to pick up the Flame Horizon, but wants to try and see if they can pick off this Shen maybe first before that happens.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a bit of waiting. Oh, actually, Taunt does land. The whole Minute squad is gonna be there. The jungler and support ready to join Vanguard as it's gonna do something, but not nearly enough. Kill goes over to the Shen. Being really far forward and just being snuck up upon.
And this is the issue now, is they weren't even in position in the mid lane to try and make something happen. Dara had the wave clear under control, so they couldn't try and push towards the turret. So it's just a kill for free. Now it's actually Minute that are pushing in onto this mid lane turret.
Yeah, and they should have some... Oh, safer tanking a little bit. That's gonna slow things a little bit down. Some clearing is gonna happen. The Sandra will be pushing in the top lane, so someone has to go and answer that soon. Yeah, really... I don't know. Yeah, that was really over-aggressive again, I'd say. You know, you're gonna try and 1v1, but of course the whole team's gonna be there at some point.
Yeah, and that's the big factor here, is that it would have been a great call if the rest of the team was in a position looking maybe to even dive onto the remaining members that are there. If you commit 3 to the bottom side, cool, it's a 4v2 in the mid lane. Yeah, the tower is kind of that third man, but it's still a numbers advantage in favor of DCU. Unfortunately though, since the team wasn't in position, Sengir ends up giving up their life for free. They get kills back over into control to the side of Minute, and now they've got an opportunity to get themselves a little bit more settled in this game. It was starting to run away with them a little bit, but now they've had one good team fight. They're starting to get a couple of picks themselves, and you see the confidence starting to come back to this lineup. Yeah,
gold is dead even as well at this point, which is a really different picture from what we saw last game. 30.4 to, well, 30.6 now. It changed a little bit, but yeah, it's really, really close. Way closer than I expected it to be anyway. But we're probably gonna get another pass. Yep, there we go.
Yeah. Called it. But yeah, I mean, the big factor here as well is that we're looking at that 20-minute mark starting to come onto the horizon. So Baron will be on the cards very shortly. And when you start to look at the items that have been completed on both sides here, it is pretty heavily in favor of Maynooth right now. I mean, Infinity Edge and one of the Zeal items picked up for the Sivir. Kaisa is nowhere near that Gwinsu's Rage Blade, which is really what you want before you start taking these fights. So if we're looking at DCU, they're very much relying on Sengir to be the big carry for the moment in these team fights. And I don't think they're really in a position to have Sengir carry. There's too much CC from the Thresh, from this Syndra and the Scat of the Week for them to try and be a big factor in these fights. If Maynooth can focus down this Aurelia, they should win out those team fights. The big question though is if they've got the coordination in these kind of messy scenarios where you've got so much going on to focus down that Aurelia.
So close to getting that hook perfect, but just misses out in the end. We're still looking for any of these towers to go down in the mid lane. Both teams really want this to happen, but for now there's just too much wave clear, too much pressure to really go for it, and nothing is really happening because of it.
Nope, nothing at the moment. You can even see Aurelia is just playing footsie with Razor in the jungle here as well, saying, no, you back away first, but it will be both of them who decide to take a step back and look towards this dragon as well. It is a Cloud Drake, so probably won't be too much of an issue with either side committing heavily towards that objective, but should still be going over in favor, I'd assume, to DCU, who seem to have control of that area. But, I mean, Maynooth are always capable of staging these fights if they get the opportunity.
Yeah, no one entering top lane right now at the moment either. They're all walking towards bot. So looks like they want to trade a tower for this dragon or force a mid lane fight because they know 2 people are top. Yeah.
Yeah, Syndra is going to stay up top, so they will be looking to get that turret. Sivir has plenty of wave clear right now though, so should be able to force this one back. That's why you can see instantly those wards going down. It's more the engage after that they need to be careful of.
Yeah, very nice. Nice spot with the scrying orb. Stun does come down, Stun Unite does come down as well. I think we're gonna have fight it. Death Stand is beautifully lands! There's Aurelia taking a lot of damage. And the first ball is Morgana, the second one, well, it's gonna be this Aurelia knockup. Sec is gonna be plopped with his passive, but you know, he's on the tower, he's not gonna be saved by anything. And then next to fall, oh, nice stopwatch to get a little bit more time, but it's not gonna be enough. A nice little triple for this Sivir.
And that's what we were talking about. If Sengir can't get going in these team fights, there's no hope for the side of DCU. Sengir gets taken out near instantly alongside Witzo. The damage is gone. Annihilation is doing their best to tickle them, but that's not going to win you a fight at any point in time. They lose out in the fight. They give the triple kill over towards the Sivir, and the Baron as well should go over into the hands of Maynooth. Annihilation is here to try and see if they can fight them off, but I don't think they're going to have any hope.
TP is going to be there. Sengir really wants this fight, but Baron immediately gets taken. The stun does land on one kill, not being picked up by a very nice zone, but finally goes down Sengir. Oh, the Prey Seeker hits! And a 1-for-1 trade as well!
And that is fantastic coming in from Maynooth, managing to get the Baron, pick off the kill as well. Niall with an incredible Spirit's Refuge as well. Keeps Aurelia there that little bit too long. Look, yes, you'll pick up that mid lane turret as a consolation prize, but Maynooth are firmly in the driver's seat right now.
Yeah, you can really see, like, now it's just gonna go for it, but where is the damage? You might have your 2 evolutions on those abilities with that Storm Racer, but the damage is gonna be so far away from being relevant, and he needs 1, 2, maybe 3 items to really pick up and do what the Sivir is doing already.
But that's the issue. I mean, look at just, not even from a, you know, oh, okay, hit item spike points. It's sheer item volume. Sivir has hit 2.5 items. We're still waiting on that second item to be completed for Annihilation on this Kaisa as well. It's a near, it's 1.3k gold advantage over towards this Sivir right now. When we're already saying, you know, Sivir, the late game scaling AD carry, really wants to hit that 5 to 6 items. They're heavily underway here, and Canis looks like they're in great position now to try and take over this game.
Yeah, what a great turnaround from game 1 to completely, you know, going in the driver's seat in this game, getting that Baron, getting those team fights, and maybe even putting Sengir so far behind that he doesn't have too many opportunities to get away with this game.
Well, you can see already that vision control is being slowly but surely cleared out. by Maynooth. They want to make sure that they are able to get into this jungle and try and pick off DCU and really just make them nervous about trying to defend these turrets. Particularly that mid lane turret, it's incredibly scary if you don't know who's on your flank, whether it be friend or foe, and you're trying to clear out that wave. You start to play a little bit further back, particularly with how low that tower is right now. Annihilation needs to have Witzel here pretty much on bodyguard duty at all points in time to make sure that they're not going to get caught out.
Yeah, and you know, you have that Shen, you have that Rek'Sai, there's gonna be loads of opportunities to get in there. Mid lane tower finally falls. Sivir ultimate being used, but this Lissandra is gonna be very low. Doesn't seem to use the ultimate and gets away barely.
And I wasn't sure there if we're actually seeing On The Hunt popped, one, to escape, but two, also quicken their pace down towards this bottom side, see if they could have got that tier 2. It isn't going to be the case, but they will keep pushing in this mid lane, so you can see that those structures are firmly in the sights of this Maynooth lineup.
Maybe Singer's time to shine is finally here. Stun does come down. It just takes forever to burst through the Shen, and I think Shen is doing more damage than Singer's gonna be expecting. Is gonna go very low, stun lands as well, so manages to get out, but you can't even 1v1 the top laner now. What do you do?
Yeah, and where is the victory condition for DCU right now as well? You've, yes, got that Gwynsu's Rage Belay complete onto the Kaisa, but you're too far behind in this scenario. Lissandra's only got a Hextech Brother to her name. She's nowhere near those items and is really never going to be the big carry. So now you're hoping for some miracle fight where maybe you can get a flank off that nets you the victory, but split push is going wrong, team fights are going wrong, and this whole game seems to be going wrong for our DCU right now.
Yeah, like... Oh man, it's just the further this game goes on as well, like there's gonna be threat. Anyway, the Sivir is gonna be there, the catch will always be there if this trash manages to land the hook. It's a bit of that Blitzcrank syndrome we've all seen in solo queue. If you just hit one good death sentence, then you know you can win from that. That will always be there, and I think that as the longer this game does go on, that this Lissandra will fall off, this Morgana will fall off a little bit as well, so maybe they will struggle even more.
Most certainly will be the case, and in particular, in about a minute and 30 seconds as well, where both Dragon and then Baron very soon after are going to end up spawning. It's going to be an Ocean Drake, so it won't be too big of an issue for either of these teams, but I mean, realistically, you can already see just the sheer volume of Drakes that Maynooth have to pick up.
That was so close, no hook being thrown out, but Zenger is playing, you know, really far forward, and in a way he really shouldn't be.
Yeah, now he is going off to see if they can try and answer for the Cliff Bush that has been set up by Nullpike, so Zenger is not in the best of situations here, does have the support of the jungler if they want to go aggressive, but see Nullpike is very happy to take these fights.
Yeah, there's nothing this really else gonna against this Shen for a farewell, I'd say, and this Shen just, you know, he has the CC, he can set up, he can fuel for his team as well, and this Reliel's gonna have more issues doing that. Oh no, you're walking very far forward, flashes away from the stun. That was close, buddy.
Yeah, now you force the entirety of DCU to back away. The pings are already going onto the Baron. 45 seconds until that's up, but it's all about vision control right now. I was going to say Niall is doing a fantastic job on this Shen, putting the jungler down, so then you've got a man advantage to start taking vision control in that area, but if you just nearly delete the Kaisa off the map, you're most certainly going to get control of this big objective.
Definitely, like, the team fighting will be as good as gone, especially since Zenger is going to be so far behind. Again, they're playing really far forward, like, their own jungle is not their own jungle anymore. They really don't have a place to go besides their own base, and that's gonna feel really difficult to play around.
100%, and you can see that right now. I mean, they're only trying to look into a bush, not even get control of the bush, just look at it, and they're eating a whole bunch of damage. Now they've got Canis in that top lane as well, pushing in towards the tier 2. Shen is still firmly in that bottom lane, just taking over the domain down there to keep pushing in towards this inhib, and DCU look like they're stretched to breaking point.
What? I just didn't expect to see this from game 2. Complete stomp from one side to the other. There are ways, of course, there are always ways to come back with the beautiful team fight of Zac, Lissandra, Kaisa with the AoEs. Oh, not just being popped. No, you're all alone, buddy. What are you doing? Ult's in, but it's not gonna be enough. Gets picked off. Another kill on the Sivir.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what Annihilation was considering there. Really needed to stay underneath the towers to keep themselves safe. With Kaisa down, they can turn towards this Baron. There is a level advantage over for Razor, but you still got to be a little bit careful. Zach does always have the opportunity to steal this away and can jump over the side, particularly if you manage to pick off this Rek'Sai.
Oh, actually, Zek is gonna be very low, not dying just yet, but Alessandro will die instead. Uses his smite to get away. Zek, no, is not gonna go in either. Oh, this is just turning into disaster for DCU.
But Maynooth haven't committed towards this Baron. Instead, they're looking towards the fight. Spirits Refuge is throwing down one Nile as they go for the 1v2.
Down misses. The Baron finally being started is already halfway done. Zek, I don't think he knows or is able to get there anyway. The Shen is just gonna, smack him down. Zek's passive is gonna be popped. No way this is gonna get stolen. Gets secured by this Rek'Sai. And I think Zek is gonna fall entirely as well. Uses the Let's Bounce over the red ball buff. It's not gonna be no. Oh, the Dawn hits on Annihilation. Uses the E to get away. Oh, the Flashlight to follow up on it. And we might actually be at the end of the game already.
We might be. I mean, there is still 30 seconds on both the jungler and the AD carry here. Towers will fall very, very quickly. They have a decent amount of wave clear here, but that doesn't help against these Baron up minions. They now are starting to push in towards the base. We'll go and collect that bottom wave instead. So there is still time for DCU, but it's looking like very slim pickings for this Titans lineup.
It's like deja vu. It's exactly what happened last time as well with that Baron. Get the bot lane instead. You set yourself up really nice on the hunt being used for a really easy escape. Dragon up, so you get that as well. It is actually, I'm sorry to repeat it, it is actually a exact repeat, but from the other team. And at this point you gotta feel like, what do we do? We're just stuck in our own base.
And I feel like that's what DCU are asking themselves right now as well. They had the advantage. They had a 3k gold lead to start off this game, but unfortunately ended up going for one missed fight, one missed opportunity were all that Maynooth needed to now take the lead of this game. We're 30 minutes in. We're looking at a near 10k gold lead for this team as well. And with the GA now completed on the Sivir, Phantom Dancer, Static Shiv, they are hitting those crucial big item break points where Canis will just be an absolute menace in these team fights. And that's not even looking towards Dara, who's 4-0-6 on this Syndra. We see them bring out a brand new pick for game 2 of this quarterfinals, and my word, have they performed.
Yeah, it really works out for them really, really nicely. Rek'Sai being left open, immediately being picked and paying off dividends. 5, 1 and 10. Almost 100% kill participation from this Rek'Sai, which is, in a series like this, actually absolutely incredible. Shen working out as well. They picked that tank. They pulled around their entire draft, and it's working out beautifully for them.
And now just a few more towers stand in the way of Maynooth securing game 2 of this best of 3. Pushing in towards this top lane tier 2, you can see DCU are moving to try and react, but they can't go through the jungle as it no longer belongs to them.
No, and tower being picked up by the Sivir, getting more and more gold. I don't think she even needs it. Ooh, this Zek is going very far forward. The knockup lands on this Aurelia. The follow-up is there. A very nice stopwatch. Manages to stall out a bit of time, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The ultimate being used. Aurelia is the first to fall. Zek is going to be the second one to fall. And Cyber Ninjas all alone trying to stall some time. Uses the flash to get out. The flay hits. You're not going to get out, buddy. No. A Phil flash coming out. A bit of a PMTP, and that will be game number 2 with a surrender vote from DCU.
Yeah, they realize at that stage that it's all going to be over. The 6th man and the minions knocking on the door of the Nexus turrets. And with a fantastic play coming in from them, they managed to secure game 2. And we're going to a game 3 for our quarterfinals.
Man, what a ride. What a complete turnaround. And I really cannot wait to see what is left in the tank for game 3.
Yeah, and I'm even just looking at the graphs here just before we close out. Sivir dealing 21,000 damage in that game. A good 7k, or sorry, at least 6k goal lead anyway, ahead of any the game. So fantastic play coming through from Canis. The Sivir pick works out wonders. We will have to see if they manage to get their hands on it into game 3. But for the moment, we'll be kicking it to a quick 10-minute break while we get ourselves refreshed, and then we'll be back with more college action.
Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you play far reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in their bones, they'll ride into smoke when the fire is fierce. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die when the world's calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die. They're written down in eternity, but you'll never see that price.
Welcome back to Game 3 of our quarterfinals here. I am very excited to see how this one is going to play out because so far we've had one very stompy game coming in for the side of DCU. Manute bite back in Game 2, and now we are at our last and final game. Who will be our victor, and who, of course, will be going on to face up against UCD Swans in our semi-finals?
Yeah, I'm very excited to see this game 3, especially this draft where, thank you, immediately we see some adaptations. This Rek'Sai immediately being banned away, being a menace last game. Well played by Reznor. Won't be able to pick it again. And hopefully we will still see this Akali ban from the side of Manute, and it plays out a little bit similar, like last pick ban.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised now, just looking at the way that that Game 2 went, to see a little bit more pressure put onto the bottom lane for DCU. I was looking at Annihilation, needed to get to the 2-item breakpoint, get that Storm Raiders and that Winsu's Rage Blade to really do the Kaisa things that we love to see and happen. But unfortunately, never given the opportunity to get there. Canis very quickly took over that lane in conjunction with Master Spec, and you can see the difference that meant. And it looks like DCU also recognized that because they're going to ban away the Sivir.
Yeah, it means Elise open, Jarvan still open. But to go back on the AAC real quick, there was Jarvan actually being banned away from the side of Manute. So Elise will still be open, maybe being picked away by the side of DCU. I don't know how comfortable Kailamna is with that. Oh my god, I butchered that.
I think we've had a different pronunciation every time we've said that.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I'm sure we've hit the right pronunciation at some point, but yeah, I'm just gonna call it Cali from now. That's
thank
Cali.
you, Kelly. Yeah, yes. Ooh, very interesting first pick up, Caitlyn. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm actually not the biggest fan of this. There's so many more power picks that are open at the moment. I'm surprised again Urgot hasn't seen a huge amount of play, but there's a lot of champions that can do a lot in the draft phase right now. But Caitlyn is not one that's high on my priority list, and it's certainly not one that I feel like you should be taken away. As you touched on, and as it's just been locked in, the Elise is still up there. But there's also a lot of picks that can work in punishing the Caitlyn if given the opportunity to do so. And I'll be looking forward to seeing if Manutes are going to pick up any of these. I'm hovering on 0 at the moment, so I'm not sure if there's been an error in the ban or the pick phase. Okay, yeah, sorry, there was a bit of a spectate error there for me.
That's Shen coming back had a very good game that second game. And while I agree with you what you're saying about the Caitlyn, Sivir being banned away, one of the most, maybe comfortable counters against this Caitlyn, where you can spell shield most of her, the traps, and the Q is going to be spell shielded, the ultimate. So that won't be available, but there's still a lot of picks, like you said, Tristana still being there, which was used the first game to decent execution.
With the composition that we actually see kind of starting to come to fruition for Maynooth, I wouldn't mind even seeing Ash. Ash has been like the long time counter pick for Caitlyn. You can push in the waves just as effectively. You can poke her quite a bit with that volley as well. And also then you set up ganks incredibly well. But you've also got a very pick heavy style just with the Elise and the Shen that's coming through. And if you just add in an Ash hour to that, with how spread out the fights have been so far throughout this series, I feel like an Ash could work wonders in that scenario.
But the answer is already there, not Cillian.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can catch, but I think we have a fail pick here, which I'm interested to see what it will be.
Possibly two. I mean, I'm assuming we're not going to see Sanger taking that Teemo top lane. So we'll be waiting just as with you guys to see exactly what those picks are going to be. I feel like going into this draft, though, I'm assuming one of them is going to be that jungler. With how many junglers are banned away, I feel like one of them has to be a jungler pick. And I wouldn't be surprised to see something else being picked up for Witzel here. With the Cocoon coming in, it could actually be the Braum. Just fall back towards that. Or maybe even that Morgana as well, who has been a very strong pick in this series so far.
Could also be a Cillian support, of course. I don't know how comfortable Witzel is with that pick, but it is a possibility. I like the Syndra pickup myself, to be honest. Played very well, had a complete 180 from game 1 to game 2, and I think Syndra was, a catalyst for that change. I really like seeing it. I also really like the Trashman, who was playing out of his mind for most of the game, getting really nice catches, nice plays as well to make a lot of things happen. So, I'm really happy with how this draft is working out already.
Well, we'll have to see what the case is going to be. Unfortunately, we haven't been filled in, so still waiting to find out what that is going to be. But what we most certainly know is that it's going to be top lane bans galore coming in for Rengus in the top lane.
Oh, I think Zillion is not Zillion, and it's going to be Sejuani, and then Teemo should be Orianna. If I get that correct, and the Braum will be the answer to that on the other side. I actually really like a Sejuani pick, which should be a bit easier to play around in that early game than the Sec was.
Yeah, and it does force that Braum pick on the opposite side as well, because with kind of the Ice Bros that seems to come in with Sejuani and the Braum, they can just have so much CC and so many team fights become such a difficult maneuver and navigation for the enemy team. So now that Braum has been locked into the opposite side, the Morgana is not going to be the option, but you can definitely take something that can help push in the bottom lane. Something like a Karma could still work wonders, or looks like they want to go for even more engaged. So this is suddenly a lot of opportunities for the Orianna there, Alistair, to set up that ball delivery system alongside that Sejuani as well.
I'm thinking the exact same thing. This is going to be a comp playing around Orianna and then answer top lane that can help with that or do the damage afterwards. I don't Cho'Gath. Okay, that wouldn't have been my first guess. Maybe a Phil pick as well, but yeah, there it is. The hover.
Yeah, that's I was so surprised we haven't seen it come out so far. This is such a difficult champion to deal with. But no, last second will be the swap over towards the Sylas. Still the exact same. Big carry in that top lane. Very difficult to deal with. And I like the situation as well. Look at everything that you have coming in, the ultimates that can be impacted from Sylas. You got that Stand United there, which will work wonders in just keeping up with the Shen as I teleport around the map. You got the Syndra as well, who's going to be an amazing note to steal. And Final Hour is not going to be such a hot one to steal, but the Glacial Fissure is definitely going to be.
Yeah, that Fame pickup is something else. Ken is playing a fair bit of Fame this tournament already. Should be really comfortable in it. Wants to carry this game, I'm guessing, and gets the opportunity to do so. You have the Shen to help her out with a bit of that peel. You have the Braum especially is gonna buy her so much time to do those damages. So I quite like the Fame pickup. Should be a hard lane against this Caitlyn though. So if they survive that, they should be.
Yeah, that's the big one that I'm worried about, is how you actually try and survive this. Now, Canis has been doing incredibly well in the bottom lane. Nihilation definitely didn't look near as Kais as they did in the Caitlyn, but if you can punish this Vayne out, it takes a lot longer for them to work up towards those two items, the Blade of the Rune King and the Guinsoo's Rage Blade. Very similar in that respect to the Kaisa, but it takes a little bit longer to get to that point. But when they do, Vayne is such a difficult champion to lock down, and that was what I was kind of waiting to see, is where do we actually see the lockdown coming in? Yes, you got the Sejuani there, but if that isn't the case, if you aren't able to lock down this Vayne nice and early and kick her out of these fights, will be the big factor and be the turnaround in these situations.
Yeah. Again, a bit of a samey cast from both of these teams, where you have to catch on that jungler, you have the bit of a team fighting on that mid lane, and then the scaling ADC. Both of these bot laners. I have to give the team fight to that Orianna and Alistar Shajani comp, of course. But it's going to be interesting to see if they actually can pull it off and get to that point where they can just stomp through that team fighting stage.
And this is the thing. We're looking at two very different styles of composition here. Heavy team fight coming in on the side for DCU, and we're looking at pick into team fight coming in from Minute Crusaders. They want Elise and Syndra to be able to set off these fights by either picking off Annihilation or Cyber Ninjas before the fight gets rolling, and then have Canis come in afterwards, after a lot of these big CC ultimates are used and a lot of the cooldowns aren't available anymore. That's when the Vayne will be entering into these fights. So it's a very different style of setup. Whereas with DCU, they're looking to get into these fights and use everything at once. They want to throw down that Orianna ultimate alongside the engage coming through from Witzel and Kalihamna, and that will end up with them in a fantastic situation. But it's going to be a case of, can they get that? The fights that we've seen so far from DCU Titans have been very spread out. I wouldn't even call them team fights, to be honest. It's more unique skirmishes that have broken out across the board. And if that is the case, that favors Minute Crusaders way more in this scenario, because each of their members is set up perfectly for skirmishes. Elise likes to be able to focus one person down and assassinate them. Same with the Syndra. Vayne, if you've got less stuff to try and dodge and move about with, can deal a heap more damage. So these are champions that love and thrive in those scenarios. So if they can find these, they're going to be in great shape. But if DCU get off to these early leads that we've seen them go for so far, they should be able to get the fights that they want. It's just a case of hopefully not running it down, because that's kind of what happened in the last game. It was one person gets caught out, two people get caught out. Sure, look, guys, it's a party over here. Let's everyone just run in and get involved. And that's really what gave Minute Crusaders the opportunity to get back.
Yeah, for me, I'll probably be looking at who steals the buff and guessing that they would win.
Yeah. It's like, okay, both junglers got their blue buffs. I'm all out of ideas here. I don't know who's gonna win anymore.
So even.
And hopefully, and I think the big factor is actually as well. I want to see earlier prioritization on this Rift Herald. And we've seen that teams have gone for that, but not trying to get to it before the 14-minute mark has been a big nuisance. You really want to be you can't overstate how useful this is if you can get those extra turret plates off of the Rift Herald. I mean, it's essentially a kill and a half that you're getting into the pockets of, in a lot of situations, a team member that's already far ahead. So for the likes of Senger, who's been winning extensively in this top lane, if you suddenly give them a kill and a half advantage in just gold, they can again start to punish that much harder. And we could see it in the last game where, yes, the Aurelia was getting ahead in the early stages, but because the team fights had come through, because there'd been a little bit of messing about, Null Pike was able to get themselves into a position where they had the items and were then able to go toe-to-toe against the Aurelia. So if you can start to push these early advantages, you can suddenly start the snowball a little bit heavier and a little bit harder. And then if you end up making that mistake, that crucial misstep in some of these opportunities, it means you still got that chance to come back into the game.
Yeah, no, definitely, you're right. It will probably be a game of crucial missteps and mistakes, because there's a lot of punishment coming from both of these teams, where the one can just out-team fight you or catch you and you won't be able to move. I am hoping that in this game 3, a bit of the jitters are gone away, a bit more cleaner. Aggressive play would be nice. Maybe pick up a Rift Herald after you kill it. Like those kinds of things I'd hope to see fixed in a game like this. And I'm interested to see in that we again have quite a bit of a different draft in some areas, and I'm curious to see how it will play out.
And I think you hit the nail on the head there with that early aggression. For me in particular, I want to see it come out from Razor. I'm going to say it, I was not impressed with the way that they played the Rek'Sai earlier. They did get the leads. They did do well once we got to the team fight stage, but I want to see way more aggressive play in those early stages. It's far too passive to begin with, and it's giving the opportunity for DCU to start to run away. Zac should not be the one who's ganking 3, 4, 5 times before the Rek'Sai even shows their face out of the jungle. You're not on a farming champion, and I think that does play back a little bit into the champions that we expect coming out from Razor, like that Evelyn, where you kind of hang on to that level 6 point, and that's when you really become a champion. But on champions champions like Elise on that Rek'Sai, you need to be getting out of that jungle earlier and having the impact that can start that snowball for your team. If Razor can get ahead and answer for how aggressive Kalihamna has been so far, I think it's just going to make things so much easier for Nuth as we start to go into this game.
Yeah, and on the flip side though, like, if this Elise doesn't manage to do that, if this Elise is going to be passive again, will not be able to get any of these ganks, will not be able to get a lead, then you kind of have a sandbagging pick in your jungle. So, and at that point, if you have to play around that into a comp as safe maybe in the team fighting as DCU has drafted, you're going to be in big, big trouble.
Well, we'll have to see if that is going to be the case. It's going to be a tough one to call so far. It is very much be how do both these teams enter fights. If we have a very strong early game coming through from DCU like we've seen before, they should be in a relatively good shape, as we're saying, to set themselves up. But pick is the name of the game for the side of Maynooth Crusaders. And if they can try and find exactly the pick that they want, my eyes are on Annihilation, who played a little bit far up in that last game. They're going to pick onto likes that Caitlyn to start things off. They can very quickly snowball these fights.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. It was very unfortunate to see now being all alone, pushed up in that mid lane, and then On the Hunt helped incredibly in picking him up from that mid lane. Bit less opportunity to do so this time, but there's still the flashes are going to be there, the easy catches might be there.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing as well what we're going to get from this early game aggression. We saw it in the last game where they did actually manage to go for that early invade. Didn't quite get the kill, but have had those early summoner spells blown. And now with what we're looking towards is a little bit of early aggression. I saw some pings going down towards the bottom side of the map. We might be seeing something sneaky come out from Maynooth Crusaders.
Yeah, another invade going in. Witzel's going to be very far. The whole teams are going to be clashing. No, they decide to go off. Oh my god, I thought it was going to be a straight up team fight in the first minute or so.
Yeah, well, you say that. It looks like they've decided to swap sides of the map now instead. So Razor will throw down a ward, but you do have to be careful. The thing that we're looking towards in these early level ones is that for DCU, they need the side of Maynooth Crusaders to walk on top of them. You're not going to have Witzel be that big engaged. You'll need to try and force the flash to get in there. Stenger won't have a heap of either. So you can see they end up backing away. And now we're looking over on the opposite side. They could have done a lot of work. You do have, of course, the concussive blow stacks, which makes it a lot easier for you to win out just in this E-war. But with both teams backing away, wards have been placed, the lines have been drawn, and everyone goes back home.
Yeah, really funny to just walk past each other and then the ward being placed just to catch everyone up. Yeah, you want to keep real good track, and that early game from that Elise, like I said before, if she doesn't manage to snowball, she's going to be a bit of a, I'd say, not entirely useless, but she isn't going to be super useful at all if she doesn't get that lead.
Yeah, it's more trying to play in towards the team composition than be that big damage source. It's again that pick style, so she's more that follow-up secondary form of CC. So she still fits into the composition, but most certainly you do want to see Razor getting out early. Elise is the champion that is renowned for those level 3 to 4 ganks, where you've got full access to all of your abilities. You've got a CC, you've got percentage health, both to kill up or set up the kill and then actually assassinate a person as well. So Elise and always has been the queen of the jungle when it comes to early game junglers. Now we got to see if Rengar can get themselves around the map, or if they'll watch the kingdom that they've set up for themselves crumble.
Yeah, you're right. Dude, I hate to say it, but like this might be the most important early game that we've yet, especially, getting that mental game. Winning that early game might change your faith in the game completely, and then you just try and snowball from that.
And I think not only the early game, the mid game is super important as well, because when you hit that 2-item spike on the side of the Crusaders, this is where you're looking to take off. Vayne gets the Blade of the Rune King and the Guinsoo's Rage Blade. Guinsoo's Rage Blade just completely changes Vayne. Massive amount of damage coming in from those silver bolts, the true damage coming in with each of that triple proc. You've also got Syndra as well, who's going to be getting that Luden's Echo, I'm assuming, into the Morellonomicon as well. So a lot of that mid-game power being hit at that point, and that's where they can look to take over this game. It's bang on the time when Annihilation is trying to creep out of that power trough that they hit. But it looks like, again, we're seeing this Sejuani out on the map, making sure that they're trying to keep this early game at least somewhat closed for the side of Crusaders.
Yeah, a lot of trading around both mid and top side, but junglers not finding each other just yet, and I think there's a pick up free scuttle.
But I mean, this is kind of what we're talking about. Is like, yeah, cool, we can get the scuttle, yes, we can get the blue buffs and that, but realistically, it has to be the kills that come over in your favor. Otherwise, you're not getting the impact that you really want. And this is what I want to see from Razor: aggressive strides in towards this bottom lane bush to see if maybe they can pick off Annihilation or Witzel.
Oh, Witzel's being cocooned. The concussive blows are gonna be there. Stun does not fall. Get a flash out of it.
I feel like they might have pulled the trigger a little bit too quickly there. Master Spec wasn't quite in a position to follow up on that. And same with Canis, they might have been able to get the double CC lock and try and finish off, even getting the dem in towards the wall. But unfortunately, got a little bit jittery, pulled the trigger, and not quite able to finish off that kill.
Yeah, it looked like he accidentally walked out of the bush. That's what it looked like to me. So at that point, you just gotta kind of have to go and hope for the best. But he's looking for mid already. Ooh, cleanse. Really nice, well used.
Okay, so this is what I wanted to see from Razor. Fantastic play coming through so far, but another gank in the bottom lane might be a little bit difficult to work around.
Stun is gonna land, yeah, I don't think anything is gonna follow up on that one.
But what I want to go back to is Razor playing towards their strengths. We were saying, okay, yes, Sejuani's gotten out, yes, they've done some work for themselves, but realistically, Razor burning 2 summoner spells so far, and we're only 5 minutes into this, says a lot about what their game plan is here, realizing, yes, we've got the opportunity, we've got a bunch of CC that can follow up with this, at least let's make it work.
Yeah, oh, boss incoming, I guess. Yeah, there you go.
Look, internet can be a tricky thing to get reliable in some places. But you can understand exactly where these guys are coming.
Yeah.
I mean, already we can see that it is working out quite well for themselves, for the side of Maynooth Crusaders. Also, with that Mountain Drake on the board as well, you can be sure that both these teams do want to try and get their hands onto that if possible. But Sejuani's been answering pretty well. Hasn't quite been able to burn the summoner spells in the same way that Ray has, but we're still seeing the quintessential aggression coming out from Kali so far.
Yeah, it's nice to see this Vayne not falling, actually getting ahead in that CS, in a not too nice of a matchup. You see, every time you look at the bot, I see now putting in some free auto attacks towards this Vayne because of the, there we go again, because of the range difference, but manages to pull out in a nice even to ahead in CS.
And I feel like we're hitting this weird point that we haven't hit before in the series where it's actually an even early game. I mean, there's no major CS advantages in the top lane, even in the mid or in the bottom lane. Either junglers have been pretty much going back and forth across the board as well. Now, I know there's a bit of a weird thing to say at level 6, but these games have been so explosive in the early game so far that it is actually a thing of note right now that we're getting to an even game. And when we get to that point, where do we actually find ourselves? Because we haven't seen these teams play from an even point in and around the team fights to begin with. So this could be a pretty big game changer as we start to push forward.
Yeah, there is an actual possibility we get front-to-back team fights this game. Incredible. There are tanks on both sides as well, so we might be able to spot something out, but there's a bit of counter jungling. Orianna's going to be there to throw. The Shockwave actually lands. Then United being used. TP is going to be there as well. Silas is going to be there for Shen gets caught in the middle of the whole team. The ultimate is going to be stolen. Transforms into a spider, wants to pick up someone, but they all flash out, and there's going to be no kills at all.
They do manage to escape, but don't forget it is going to be Crusaders who are the ones making that aggressive move. So the fact that they've had to burn 3 flashes in that fight
now. Finally, and Done is there, Sengir! Bits of more than he could chew and gets killed for it.
I love the way you had the exact same reaction as me. Like, Vayne, you are going to turn at some point, right? You are going to do something about this situation. But eventually, they do manage to get the kill onto Sengir. And this is what I was talking about. How does it change when we're both on an even footing? Now, you do end up burning a bunch of flashes to get out, but Sengir goes overly aggressive because they think they've got the opportunity to try and kill someone and end up giving across that first kill over into the hands of this Vayne crucially as well. We're already saying really wants to try and accelerate to that 2-item spike, punish as heavily as possible this Caitlyn who wants to get to that triple zeal, triple crit item chance, but won't be given that chance if there's too much damage coming out from this Vayne.
What a... That was... I don't know how to respond to that. That was so weird. Probably window shopping with the enemy top laner right next to you, but worked out in the end, I guess.
Look, I know you're important, but this Gucci bag is fantastic right now. I need to check it out. It's 70% off. But I mean, they eventually get there, and I think it was very lucky as well that the plus-up stacks had got to that third spot, because one more combo or one more spell usage coming out from Senger would have been enough, because of course he would have had that passive stack and that would have been the damage. Wasn't even led with the condemn, so there wasn't the CC there. If it wasn't for the drop.
CC, Shen might be the next to fall. Knock on as yeah, stun gonna be there to land as well. Is the ultimate? Yeah, gonna be there. Everything's gonna damage to be getting a kill. Yeah, he's just gonna walk out after all that.
And look at where the rest of Crusaders are right now. Manuth have started up this dragon. They realise, look, they've committed everything towards that top side of the map. We've now got an opportunity to pick up our first Drake of the game.
Yeah, and it's gonna be another mountain with a low range AD carry. We talked about this in game 2, and you know, it's gonna feel very nice to pick this up for no trade at all.
Exactly. I mean, this is very strong early game coming through from a new Crusaders, and this is exactly what you want to see when you're going for such a pick-heavy style in your team composition. Being the ones that are in the lead in the early stage will work out. Now, I mean, we're saying that they're in the lead, but the big thing is actually that because of all the different turret plates that have gone over in that bottom side of the map and in the top side, the gold is even right now.
Does come down, the knockup does come down, but there's no follow on. But the Alistar is gonna be the next target. Use the ultimate to get away, still gets stunned. Has to flash out away, and no kills being gotten for the side of Manuth.
Yeah, it was a good call from Witzel. Headbutts Razor out of that engagement, so they can't follow up on the CC. Unfortunately, Master Spack not quite on point with the Winter's Bite. Means that there won't be any slows coming in on the Caitlyn, so they managed to come out of that just barely alive.
That was... I think some displacement. It was either the net or something else that barely made it miss, but unfortunately not enough to follow up. But Witzel uses X-Flash. I'm looking at Kylie, but he doesn't want to follow up just yet.
No, they don't want to go for that too much at the moment, especially with how much was committed in that last engage. But we are going to go back towards a little bit of a kind of a break or a lull at the moment, and I want to see what way this Rift Herald is going to go, because with top lane going a lot more even, now looking a lot more comfortable on the Shen into the Sylas matchup than they have previously, it makes it a lot more difficult for Kali to just kind of go, oh yeah, we'll get that objective eventually, because I've got Senger doing really well. Instead, it's a bit of a toss-up now instead as to who will get that objective, and if they can get it before that 14-minute mark we were talking about. Only 3 minutes to make use of that turret play.
Yeah, no jungler walking towards just yet, but Kylie's gonna be there. Shockwave does land, but the stun up does miss. The Stand United is gonna be using the double Stand United, and one clearly is victorious.
Yeah, anything you can do, I can do better, says Senger. Managed to steal away the Stand United. Don't know if it was fully needed either. Cyber Ninjas does have enough of a health bar there that they would have been able to keep themselves nice and topped up, but it doesn't matter. It's worked. And again, we're seeing that regardless of the matchup, this Sejuani, Kali is still able to make it happen for the side of DCU.
Yeah, gets a turret plate as well. Some gold in his pockets, excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. I think you know you want to be safe, and getting that ultimate out there might as well could help with pushing in afterwards. So very well, nicely played by Senger, and a really good catch by the mid jungle duo.
And this is the thing now, so although we always kind of go, oh yeah, well Sylas can keep stealing that ultimate and keep themselves nice and topped up, the difference is that the cooldown on actually being able to steal that Shen ult is always longer than the Shen ult itself. There's a very brief window there where a double TP is available, an extra TP is available for the side of Manuth Crusaders. I don't know how much they can make that work, but it's definitely just something to keep our eyes on and see if they can create a situation where Nile will be able to get to that bottom lane and Senger won't be able to follow.
Yeah, that's a decent point as well, but Senger will have his TP up in a little bit, so maybe, you know, it will be enough to help out, but the shield is gonna save someone for sure, and the follow-up is gonna be, I think, a little bit slower as well. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we're seeing a slower game as well coming.
Yeah.
In Isle Pike, we were already saying, look, it's keeping themselves nice and topped up in this top lane, but with that Rod of Ages now completed onto the Silas, see the trades will slowly but surely start to go back in favour of the broken chains that are coming in. Sengar taking a decent chunk of damage here against Isle Pike, but slowly but surely this will start to go over in favour of the Silas.
They're still going in. It looks like a tank battle, but there's a clear damage dealer, but he just doesn't have enough damage yet.
Yeah, I mean, it'll get there in its own time. Not quite there at the moment, but once again, we're kind of seeing a bit of a difference come from the vision control for this DCU lineup. It has been pretty much the Minute Crusaders line that I've been saying have been touting out with the vision most of the game, but Rivers have been firmly, well, they were in control up until a couple of seconds ago for DCU, but unfortunately, I didn't see the timers on the wards, and now they've all died as I go to make my...
I mean, it was there, and,
I swear, guys, it used to be.
And it looked beautiful. It's just a shame we just missed it, but, you're right, the vision is there, or was there. It is kind of dark on the map right now. I think 3 maps, yeah, you can barely speak of vision right now, so they probably want to get that reset as soon as possible, get some more vision around this map, play more around the strength of this Elise, who managed to only get 1 assist in just yet.
Particularly with the Infernal Drake now having spawned, so you can see very quickly that it's the side of Minute Crusaders who moved down here. 5 of those control wards in their pockets as well. They know how important it is for their composition to make sure that they're denying vision from DCU Titans. They want to try and see if they can pick someone off. Best way to do that is to have one of these guys wander in by themselves, but they're not going to be given the opportunity. DCU Titans have already made their way down, but that Infernal Drake has been started up.
Oh, it's so very low. DCU really want this? Is it gonna be stolen? Who's gonna get it? Oh! Double knockup! Gonna be there, it gets picked by the Shijani in the end. The team fight finally is there. Stench United being used as well. A lot of damage does come down. Nobody falling just yet. Finally, a stolen ult gives them the Vayne kill. And the next to fall is gonna be the Shen. Braum falls in the meanwhile as well. And that's a 3-4-0. Well, Elise is trying to make the best of a bad situation. The Flash headbutt is gonna give the kill away! What a beautiful play! 4 for Num, and an Infernal picked up for DCU.
And this is what we talked about. It's a team fight versus pick into team fight. Minute Crusaders can't find that crucial pick to start off those fights, and instead they get run over by that team fight composition coming in from DCU Titans. And now, not only do they get the Infernal Drake, not only do they get the kills, but they're picking up turrets across the board. Dutch, this has completely swung out of control, and Minute Crusaders are looking like they're holding wooden swords instead of anything that can deal damage.
For now, just they still have those wooden swords. It's not the complete end of the world, but it's gonna be very, very close. And I just want to touch on the fact that Sanger stole Unleashed Power and killed Vayne with that. She was not able to escape because all the balls were just following her, and she just got popped. And that was, for me, that changed the fight around completely because the DPS wasn't there anymore, and then it was just free fighting from that point.
Yeah, and this is a big factor. If you don't have that consistent damage coming through from the Vayne, you're going to find it very difficult to clean up these fights. Syndra, burst damage. Elise, burst damage. You don't have someone that can really look to clean up anything that's left over. And that's what we were talking about back in Champ Select, was Vayne would be the follow-up, the clean-up in these engages. You want to wait until those big ultimates are already used by the likes of Sengir onto Dara. I mean, I know that sounds bad, but Dara is going to be a one-punch man when it comes into this. Toss everything in the kitchen sink out and then just go, do you know what, take me back to the base. I've done my job here. I've ditched out all the damage you're going to get out in this fight. Yep. And if you're eating those spells and all those abilities from the side of DCU Titans, well then it opens up this Vayne to actually follow through on the rest of it. And it's such a weird thing to say, but that's the way both, actually, Dara and Bolt Razor kind of have to play this, is look, get out as much damage as quickly as we can, and then just accept that we are just damage. We're health bars that we're trying to pile on to keep Canis up in these fights.
Yeah, but the shame is that that team fight was just too early for this Vayne to do the real damages. I think she didn't even have the blade finished at that point, so... ooh, actually Singer is very far forward, gets picked up. A stun follow-up, the unleash power is gonna be there. The concussive blow is not there quite yet. Stolen ult from Elise is gonna stall a lot of time. But oh my god! Yes, the shockwave manages to hit on 3. Whistle gonna be there for the follow-up. The damage is not there just yet. They just managed to pick up 1 for now. And they're probably gonna look towards this Rift Arrow.
For anyone who was confused in that fight...
Oh, Witzel, no!
Oh no! Witzel tries to get themselves a little bit of control there, but they had no right to do so. Ends up falling. Now it actually could end up being the fight. It's going to be a 4v4. Nile is fairly low though.
Yeah, and Razor should get popped soon as well. There's no resistances on this. They're looking for it. The trap is going to be triggered as well. No fight just yet. The cocoon lands on the Saber. That's the last target you want. Oh my god! Nile just got picked off completely.
Yeah, they do end up just about keeping Sengar alive as well. So I actually love the way Sengar has been playing on this Silas. What you may not have noticed or realized when you end up playing Silas and you're up against champions like Jace, Nidalee, Elise or anything like that, and you steal the ultimate, you get access to their full range of abilities. So when we were in that team fight, Sengar, even though it looked like they were about to get caught out, was able to repel up in the air after stealing the ultimate away from Razor, and meant that they gave themselves enough time for the rest of the team to show up. That shockwave is putting in a lot of damage right now as well, at a cool 007 that Luden's Echo completed as well. Cyber Ninjas is really putting in work right now, and it becomes a very difficult opportunity for Minute Crusaders to find the pick that they would have liked. If they got Sengar down in that fight, suddenly that changes to a very different team fight and would heavily have gone in favor of Minute Crusaders. Probably would have been able to even pick up that Rift Tower for themselves, but thanks to the quick fingers from Sengar, they're able to stay alive and put one more team fight over in the win victory column for DCU Titans.
Yeah, Sengar absolutely trying to recapture that game 1 performance and really getting in for it. Playing absolutely out of his mind, but Dark is going to be very far forward, gets knocked up as well, but there's no follow-up to be had. The Stand United is being used, Cleanse is being used as well, and Razor is meanwhile fighting in the jungle, and the tower of mid lane just gets fallen, and they still have a Rift Arrow that's going to be used on the second tier tower.
And look at the members that are lagging behind for Crusaders as well. You still got Vayne and Braum coming out of the base, but the fight is
That's very far forward. Stand United being used on the Zoriana to keep her alive, but it doesn't matter. Oh my god, the shot can hit. Devastation, and a 3-4-0 for DCU, snowballing out of control.
And it's just a case of the composition setup is so strong from DCU Titans and playing it to perfection as well, realizing that, look, we are the ones in control, we're the ones that win out in these team fights when given the opportunity. Witzel has gone for the flash over the wall, trying to see if they got into Master Spec, but doesn't matter, they're getting the inhibitor tower and now they're getting the inhib.
A 20-minute inhibitor, this game is just a complete stomp, I might say. They're just grabbing this game by the balls and just winning it straight out by superior team fighting. It's really nice to see that they managed to pull it out. Like we were talking about it before, this is a team fighting comp, and all they've been doing right now is team fighting.
And this is where we said, look, if we go and look at skirmishes, skirmishes are great for Minute Crusaders. Maneuverability, a lot of abilities that can just assassinate one target and take them out of the fight. But we haven't been given that opportunity. This game has looked completely different. It has been all in and around these objectives. Team fight after team fight. Ultimate usage has been so well from DCU Titans. I haven't seen an Orianna ultimate that hasn't connected onto at least 3 people this entire game. Or even in that last one, it didn't matter that it was only 2. It still managed to take most of the health bars off of both the carries in Razor and Dara, so it worked out fantastic for them. Now we're 21 minutes into the game, a 6k gold lead over in favor of DCU Titans, and Baron has just spawned as well, and with how well they've been playing and how great their engages have been, you can be sure that they're looking to try and take that objective very soon.
Yeah, definitely, and the first blue buff has been stolen as well, so for me this game is basically as good as over.
Yeah, we don't need the Baron, we already know,
Yeah, DCU should have this in the pocket from now on, if past experience or anything to go by. But yeah, it's going to be very difficult to get this picks off when you're this far behind the 257k, 6k gold lead already for the side of DCU.
And here it is as well. Like, you're still looking at the top
Ooh,
play.
the
Ooh,
picks
hang on.
are finally going to be there. The Condemn is going to be stunned as well. The ultimate hits too. The Glacial Fissure to get a peel, but the double knockup is going to be there. A beautiful play by Witzel, flashes him. But, excuse me, Sunda's in the backline. And it's gonna get picked up immediately. Senger is gonna still be alive. Kingslayer used to heal up a bit, and everyone's gonna fall. Oh my god! What a beautiful smite! Braum is gonna be next to fall. The flash comes forward. Are they looking for the end already?
Yeah, this definitely could be. The super minions already hitting onto that Nexus turret, so they catch up with the wave. And one more time, they haven't learned from their mistakes. Try to jump onto Senger, but that's exactly what they want. Again, steals away that elite ability pool and manages to make it work. Teleport in onto the minion to keep it alive, but here
They're
comes
really
the
gonna
fight!
try for it. The stun does land on the silver. Then Yasby. Jen will probably be the next to fall. Triple stun does land, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. They're gonna look for the finish. This Elise is the next on the target list. Manages to E away. Turret finally goes down. I think they want to go off. No, Senger's. Senger's just gonna pop this Elise. There's no answer for the side of DCU, and the knockup lands on the Syndra as well, being the next to fall. Almost an ace, but it doesn't matter. They don't need it. Wards are coming down. The Nexus is being killed, and a 2-for-1 win for DCU.
And what a fashion to do it in as well. 8-0, 8-4 Kali on the Sejuani in the jungle. Looks like an absolute menace in so many of these games throughout the series. And just incredible teamwork, incredible team fighting. And a lot of it coming off the back of very beautiful individual plays coming through from Sengar. 1, to keep himself alive. 2, to bait in the team that little bit further. And 3, lead the charge for DCU Titans to go to the semifinals.
And what a statement has been said. We have the top lane, who is basically unbannable. We have that mid lane putting out the damage. The jungler, who basically wins most matchups. It's really insane to see how they played mostly game 1 and 3, of course. And game 2 as well to a certain extent. But I would fear for my next series if I were to play against DCU.
Yeah, and you can see as well why Cyber Ninjas is, plays so much Orianna. It's his most played in solo queue and is also sitting at the most damage in the game. That Orianna, despite not able to pick up some of the kills, that those 13 assists were packing a punch for this side. And DCU Titans now are the ones that are progressing to our semi-finals. They will be going up against UCD Swans. But that is all from our games this evening. A fantastic series that we had so far. Commiserations to Minute Crusaders. They will not be advancing, but they can hold their head high for what was a stellar series. DCU Titans now will take one more stride towards our finals and one more stride to becoming the Collegiate champions. That is everything from tonight, though. I'm glad you were able to join us, and I hope you will join us again next time, and have a good night.